back so soon.
Pardon me, brother.
Yeah.
Pardon me, brother. Pardon me, brother. We are not really live. We're recording, but it's as live as we're going to be, I think.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
But
As live as we always are.
yeah, that's true. So we've got some introductions to do here. We've got some special guests today.
I am so excited for today.
We have not one, but two.
Two guests.
You want to do the honors of introducing number one, and I'll introduce number two? You pick. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, okay. I'll introduce the guest who we did have on the air last week, but nobody's going to get to hear that because you lost the footage. So.
Wow. Nice. What the hell was wrong with you?
Our first guest, we did discuss in length last week.
Yeah.
Talked about him. Our good friend, Larry Emery.
Larry.
How you doing, Larry?
Welcome on, Larry.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Why don't you do a quick introduction on, like, your name and what you do for a living and, how long you've known us and that kind of stuff. Go ahead.
Well, as I said, I'm Larry, and I've known these two fellows for, gosh, I can't even count. It's got to be over 30 years at this point, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I met Grant originally when we were in grade school. And then somewhere along the line, you and I became friends, and I didn't even realize you two were brothers.
Right.
Because, well, he lived in my
He lived
neighborhood.
in my
What the
neighborhood.
hell is wrong with you?
So here I am, like, hanging out with Jim, and then, I meet Grant, and then, we're in his room one day, and I'm like,
That's
"Oh,
your brother?
that's your brother?"
That's awesome. I did not know that.
Yes. Yeah, I think we knew who. I mean, we weren't friends that hung out all the time, but we did know each other before he even knew who Grant was.
Yeah, well, it's
Kennedy,
the neighborhood thing because you
Yeah.
guys were in very close proximity
Right.
to each other. So I
Right.
think that probably made a difference on that. So, but Larry, we're very glad that you're here.
Thanks.
We're gonna move over to guest number two.
All right.
Guest number two is an old friend as well from high school, but I'm going to let him do his introductions here. This is your friend and mine, Nathan Sanders.
I'm the guestist. I'm the plural.
I thought he was going
Larry's the guest. I'm the guests. I'm the plural.
to break into a rap right there. Didn't know what he was doing.
I could, but then no one would want to listen. So I'm Nathan. Met Grant in high school. Met the other two because if you hang out with Grant, you are going to eventually hang out with Larry and Jim because that's the way it happens. And honestly, the first time I met Larry, I actually met him in his house, right? You pulled in the driveway. Larry starts yelling at you from the house. And I'm like, are we at the right place? Because I was like... And I don't even remember what you were yelling because I don't remember it was clear at the time. But and then when you guys ran in, you basically started just talking smack, and I'm like, these two, oh yeah, fun. And then the first time I met Jim, it was Jim. He's not loud, but the second the three of you got together,
Yeah.
it was like you had this conversation that you had going, and the conversation started the second you all three got in the room. So. I think today is going to be very interesting, is my point.
Yes, I would agree.
I'm going to enjoy watching at a minimum.
A lot of history here.
We do have one individual that is not here with us. That's kind of part of the band, if you will, getting the band back together. I'm supposed to be able to call him up. I'm waiting on a reply back, but that would be Grandmaster Phil. Yeah. So we're just waiting on him to send me a text back, but that's kind of where we're at with that. With Jimbo here, why don't we start off like we kind of normally do? And what's up with the hat, man? What's
with the hat?
Yeah, what's that all
You
about?
should know about the hat. You got me this hat.
Tell the story, buddy.
What's the story?
I don't know.
We drink Coronas. We like Coronas, so we drink Coronas. And
Yeah.
you got me this hat with the bottle cap opener.
Yeah. And what was the purpose? For camping.
For camping, right?
Yeah.
So we could open our Coronas around the fire
Yeah.
without having a bottle cap.
It works so much better. You don't have to bring extra stuff. You can just click it and go.
Yeah.
Click it and go.
Right,
So
click it
that's-
and go.
Yeah. So Larry was working as a police officer, and there's actually kind of a quick story there that we could get Larry to tell us about. What was the process, and how did you become a Toledo PD guy?
I heard it, Chuck.
Well, let's just say that at the time I had no interest to be a police officer.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I just, my goal at the time was I was in the Air National Guard, and I was going all over the place, and I was like, I'm just going to do this as my career. And I really wasn't really concentrating on anything else. I dropped out of college. I was going for engineering, mechanical engineering, and I was just traveling all over the world, enjoying life. Grant was dating Dana at the time, wasn't it, Grant? I believe.
Yeah. Clippity
And
clop,
you know,
clippity
yeah, I
clop.
was just gonna say that. We could hear her walking down the hallway. And here comes Dana, and then it was Katana.
Sorry, go ahead.
Anyways, Grant went on a ride along with her uncle, and he was a state trooper.
Yeah.
And when he came home, he was just so fired up about it. He was like, "Man, I want to be a police officer. This is my calling. I'm going to do it." Grant researched it, did everything he needed to do to find out what you needed to do to take civil service tests for Toledo
I
Police.
did all the research. Just let it be known that I did all the research.
And then the hounding came. Dude, take the test with me. Why don't you take the test with me? Take the test with me.
Yeah.
I don't want to, man.
Yeah.
Take the test with me. Next day comes along, take the test. All right, fine, I'll do it. After I finally did it, we studied together, and long story short, I scored rather well, and
Yeah.
I got accepted in.
Yeah. Who else went with us?
Was it Phil?
Yeah.
It was Phil.
The three
Yes,
of us.
it was. Yeah,
It was the three of us.
Yeah.
Phil went with us. It was a good time. The three of us went, and we all, I think we all passed. Did Phil, I'm trying to remember, I don't remember what his score was. I know I scored pretty high. You scored actually higher than me because of the military. They gave you a bump,
Yeah.
which is, I mean,
Couldn't have been my intelligence at all that helped me score.
No, of course not.
No. Okay.
No, but you did real well, and it really kind of fit you. It just kind of, you know what I mean? It just kind of made sense. And you've been an officer now for how many years?
24 years.
Wow.
Starting my 25th, December 1st, as a matter of fact.
24 years with a gun.
It's crazy.
Scary.
Yeah.
You know, Nathan, I don't know why you weren't considered, but I know I was told I was too short by these two.
Nathan's probably the tallest of us all. I mean, I think how tall are you, Nate? You're 6 foot, right?
No. There's a story about that, if you want me to tell it real
Oh,
quick.
good God, yeah.
So my dad was 5'7" and 1/8.
Right.
Say 1/8. And my brother is the exact same height. My brother has a hard time with me being taller than him. And yes, Jake, you're going to watch this podcast and you're going to hear this story because he hates this story. They live near Chicago. We're at the Science Museum, and they had Michael Jordan standing there with his arms out, and you could get measured for your height next to Michael Jordan.
Oh, I've seen that, yeah.
Take the shoes off. And I was always short, had cancer when I was a kid, so all the growth came after college, right? I shot up several inches. I had no idea how tall I was. I go up, they laser measured it. The guy goes, "You're barely 6 foot." I jumped for my life. I was like, "Heck yeah!" And it's bothered my brother because I immediately, next time, I'm like, "Look, man, my license says 6 feet." My brother's like, "You're not 6 feet tall. You're not 6 feet tall." So I think as we shrink with age,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
hopefully it's because of the money in our pockets because of all of our earning careers is
That's-
pulling us
that's
down.
why.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, I think I'm probably in the 5'10" range now. And I think it was like a good day when all the gas in my bones had expanded me. I don't think I've ever been 6 foot, but it bugs the crap out of my brother. So I'm 6 foot. Right.
Yeah, baby.
Right.
Yeah, but
baby.
no, no, if you had called me, I would have had to decline. I was pursuing my career options, but happy to hear that you guys all gave it a shot.
Yeah,
So
we did.
I think the right man got the job personally between the three of you.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate
I
that.
do.
It's been a good career. I can't really complain. Done a lot of good. A lot of good.
Well, you know, I want to ask Nathan a quick question, if that's okay. When Nathan and I were in high school, we decided to double date and do prom together. You know,
With girls.
yeah, you probably should mention that.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Anyway,
It was a date with girls.
it was girls, and
I was wondering about that.
yeah. See, you guys are you guys are all losers. I should hit the button, but I'm not gonna. And anyways, we as we were getting ready and doing the things that we were gonna do, and we had the car and everything. I guess what I wanted to really kind of touch on was the after prom. So tell us what happened when we went to after prom and the whole scenario with that.
Well, first off, I have to tell my favorite Big Jim missing moment, right?
Oh.
Because your dad's cool,
Okay.
right? Your dad's cool. So we hadn't been to my house yet, right? And so we got dressed at Grant's house, and we walk out, and I'm having the time of my life with that damn cummerbund, right? Never worn one before. When you put tuxes on in high school, right? And your dad comes over, and he stands in front of me, in front of everybody else, and he pats my shoulder. And he's like, "Hey, man." And then he's fixing my cummerbund, like just sly, like so nobody could see it, so he wouldn't embarrass me. And he's like, pats my arm, walks away, right? And I was just like,
That's cool.
he fixed it with, first off, he fixed it with one hand, which was impressive, because I was like, what the hell? How did you do
Man,
that?
lucky ladies.
But I always thought that was cool because, because it was just family, right?
Right.
I mean, it was just you guys and the limo driver, but he's like, well, I don't want to embarrass you, right? And I've always appreciated that about your dad, because that's just who your dad is. He's like, let me take care of that. And then I didn't realize this till years later. Your dad walked over and said something to the limo driver, patted him on the shoulder. Your dad tipped the driver, because neither of our dumb butts knew we were supposed to do that.
I didn't have any money.
It doesn't matter, man. You're supposed to tip the driver. So your dad hooked us up. Is my
Right.
point, right?
Yeah.
So, but after prom, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, let's go. Well, what I want to do is that let me set you up, all right?
Okay.
With the after prom, if I recall correctly, and just chime in here, it was the first time that Springfield High School had done an after prom.
First one.
And so, of course, as with anything that's brand new, you got to work out the bugs and stuff, and they're not sure exactly how to handle all these, these kids. So us being seniors, we got my Chevelle parked outside, and we decided that it was incredibly lame,
Well, you have to
Wasn't it?
understand, it was a full lock-in.
right?
You're not allowed to leave. You're not allowed to go outside. You're not allowed to do anything, right?
And if you do leave, what do you got to do?
They call the cops.
Well, I mean, at the end of the night, what do you got to do at the end of the night? You remember?
When you do leave.
When you do leave at the end of the night, you had to sign out.
Oh yeah, no, you had to. No, it was even if it was like the party was over, you still had to sign out to prove that that you stayed the whole night. They put paper over the doors, right? Like tape paper, like the butcher paper.
Yeah.
And so, it wasn't much of a barrier. Is probably the best way to put it.
No.
And we were really sick of our dates at that point.
Actually, yeah, both of us were, because your date was more of a friend, wasn't it?
My day was a friend,
Right.
And she went to a Christian school, and they didn't have prom, so she had done her prom, so she was over. And Grant's was a girlfriend who had decided that she didn't want to be your girlfriend anymore.
Right.
Well before prom.
It was Dawn, yeah. And she was like, well, I did all this tanning, and I got the dress, and I like you and your parents, but I just want to go to prom so I can dance. She's a big dancer. She wanted to dance. That's what she wanted to do.
So we were done with our dates by prom, let alone after prom.
Right.
After prom was pretty cool, right? It was a casino-themed island night.
It sucked.
As a parent who will try to put on events
Okay,
now,
all
okay, we
right.
give them some credit, right? A bunch of moms got together.
right.
Yes, it was cheesy.
Yes, it was.
It was cheesy, but for in a high school, it was cool. But Grant was the one. We're sitting there, and I vividly remember this because I was saying it over and over again. I'm like, "This is so dumb. I am so bored." And he goes, "Let's just leave." And I was like, "What?"
Sounds like me.
He goes, "Let's just leave." And we stood up and started walking, and then we turned around and we're like, "Are you coming?" to the girls, and they were like, "Are we doing this?" And we all just went over, and Grant moved a piece of tape. We slid behind the paper and walked out. No sign out, no nothing. Had that moment where you're like, do we run or walk to the cars? We did a half run, half walk, half run, half walk, all the way to the cars. We kept expecting somebody to come after us.
There's nobody. Nobody was outside because first run, they had, I don't think they had security in the parking lot, unless you remember something different, but I don't
No.
remember there being.
We looked for everybody, didn't see anybody. It was 4:08 a.m. when we snuck free.
How do you remember that?
Because I kept staring at my watch going, they opened the doors at 6, and I was
yeah.
like, what are we going to do for 2 more hours? And this super nice mom was going around, come on, boys, it's casino night. With Monopoly money, right?
Right.
Did she sound exactly like that is what I want to know.
Pretty
I
much.
hope so.
With the crackly voice.
But yes, that was the highlight of prom, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was
So
a good time.
that was the highlight of prom, was sneaking out, because that was probably the most evil thing I'd done in my life to that point. So could not tell my parents.
And I
because
was
that
a
would have
part
been
of
bad.
it. I feel so wonderful. Do you remember then I don't remember if that was a Saturday or whatever that was for the day of the week that we did that. I know it was either a Friday night or Saturday night, but did you get called down to the office with me the next time? That was just me. Son of a gun.
You got called to the office?
Yeah. The deal with that is that we didn't sign out. Obviously, we weren't there at 6 a.m. to sign out. So they went through the paperwork, and there was a missing signature for 2 boys and said dates. So yeah. So I got called down to the office, and I had to go down there. And as they're talking to me, they're going, "Okay, Grant, what happened? Where were you? What happened?" And I just remember just looking at him and just going, "Well, man, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, we were there, and the girls were in front of us, and we just walked out when we got done, and so I didn't really fib too badly, but I mean, obviously, it wasn't totally the truth. But I said I didn't see the sign out. A bunch of people were standing at the table. We didn't realize it. We just left.
I know why they didn't call me.
Why is that?
My freshman year, my uncle was the principal.
Oh,
And he retired my freshman year, and he used to be the principal at Maumee. And this principal that came in, Osnowitz,
sure.
was from Maumee. So they all, and my uncle owned a bar, and they called him Jake,
Right.
and they all drank at Jake's bar. So I'm sure they went down the list, and it's like, Grant missing, call that little slacker to the office. Nathan probably forgot. That's Jake's nephew.
So nepotism started rather early in your life.
The one time in my life that I knew somebody cool, right?
Yeah.
So, I am, because again, when he walked into the office, right? I mean, literally, my uncle knew. They all went to his bar, and Mr. Martinez, my guidance counselor,
Right.
lived behind me in our neighborhood.
Oh my.
So I'm pretty sure that they knew who I was, right? So they were just like, oh, Nathan wouldn't do anything wrong.
No.
Well,
So
yeah.
that's probably why I didn't get called to the office.
When he looked at me, I just remember him looking at me with a blank stare. And he goes, "So why didn't you sign out?" And I said, "Well, everybody was at the table. I couldn't see what was at the table. I didn't know there was a sign out sheet. We were walking through. Everybody was trying to get out of there. We were tired. It was a long night, And he just gives me this look. Go back to class. And that was really the
We're like
end
2
of
weeks
it.
from graduation, right? I think he's like, do I want to pick this fight? The answer is no.
Yeah.
No cops were called. No accidents happened. Everybody got home safe. We're all good.
No parents calling and asking what happened. So you're good.
Exactly.
Got away good.
Yeah, we were lucky on that one. So, but they could have been a lot worse, but it wasn't. So what? I guess I got a question. We're going to shoot over to Larry now.
Okay.
And wanted to ask Larry a question that we had here for him. And there's a couple of stories here that we just want to reminisce about, but it was always very funny and cool. But I think we were 14 or 15, and it won't take him long to figure out what I'm going to ask him. But we were 14 or 15 years old in your dad's car. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
So, all right.
This is going someplace else, but I know where you're going with it now. I thought it was going to have to deal with walkie-talkies.
Oh, well, hey, come back to that.
Okay.
Come back to that. But I don't know if Nathan's heard this story before, because I think we were probably, oh man, I'm trying to remember. I want to say that we were 14 or 15, because we were just at that point of wanting to drive, like knowing that we're going to be driving. And your dad had that car, and it was a
Plymouth Arrow.
yeah, and it was what, a 3-speed, 4-speed?
No, it was a 5-speed.
Was it? Oh, it was a 5-speed. Okay,
It's a hatchback.
So
Yeah.
walk us through that. What happened?
I still remember we were in Holland, Sylvania, in between Dorr Street and Bancroft when this happened, too.
Oddly specific.
Yeah, right. Very
So, I mean, you're right at that age when you want to start driving. You're just like really interested in driving, and that was at that age. You were like, man, I can't wait till I can drive. I just the freedom. Just everything associated with it being that age, being a boy, and the cars that we had back then is just you just wanted to drive. And at that age, my dad was teaching me how to drive a manual, a stick shift, and he would occasionally let me take and shift the car. He'd push the clutch in when it was time to shift, and I'd shift it. And then we'd drive a little bit more, and then he'd push clutch in again, and I was like, cool, it's pretty cool, So we had Grant in the car, and I can't remember where we were going. I know we left the house, and we were going down Bancroft, and we turned down
Probably taking me
Pennsylvania.
home. That might be taking me home or
Could
something.
have been, yeah. So I was like, come on, Dad, let me shift the car. And he's like, no, I'm not going to let you do it now. I'm like, drove a little bit farther. I was like, how about now? No, I don't want you screwing it up. It'll be fine. And I don't know how many times I asked him. I'd been like 2 or 3 times.
At least. He was getting more aggravated
Yeah,
every
and
time.
he was like, "Nah, I don't want you grinding the gears or anything." And I'm like, "All right, fine, whatever." No sooner did he say that, he had a shift. And what did he do? Me and Grant were just in tears. It was the funniest thing in the world. Grant seems to think my dad did it on purpose. He could have. I could see my dad doing something like that. but-
Maybe, but I gotta add this in here real quick. Is that when he did, whether Larry had his seatbelt on or not, it didn't matter. He was jumping up and down in his seat, laughing like violently hard at his dad, and his dad was like yelling, "God damn it!" But it was an awesome story. It was an awesome story.
That's
So,
a good story. Good memory. Good memory of my dad. Yeah, I like
That's
that.
awesome. It's perfect. It's the perfect timing. I could see him doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Just to jerk your chain, give you it's like, let me give Larry my happy moment, right? And then probably the second he did it, he's like, oh crap, I shouldn't have done that because I'm going to hear about it forever.
For the rest of my life. Yeah. Little does he know, we're still talking about it.
yeah, that's funny. That's funny stuff. So, Jim, do you have any good memories of either Larry and I or Nathan and Larry and I? Do you have anything in your hat there?
Yeah, I do actually. I
Like
want
the
all
hat.
of us. It's
There we
somebody's
go.
graduation party, I do believe.
Oh,
Somebody got the
man.
bright idea to throw the
Yeah.
graduating person, you, into our dirty
Right.
pond.
Oh no. Whose idea was that? Was that Larry's idea?
It was one of these two. I'm not sure which one came up with the idea.
I don't think it was mine. I think that credit all goes to
I think
Larry
it goes to Larry.
happily because that seems not
Appreciate
that,
throwing me under the bus there.
no, it's not throwing you under the bus because it's a great idea. But I don't remember thinking that myself. But I remember going, heck yeah! So I think it was you, which is awesome.
Do you remember who else was helping us? Wasn't much of a help. You remember?
Was it Tracy?
No, it was
Tell 'em.
Gary. What was Gary's last name?
Von Segura.
Very Gary von Sigrid.
He had a broken arm. Remember, he had the cast on his arm.
You know, the guy's like 6'5", got the broken arm, right?
And he comes
Yes.
after me. Yeah.
He gave it his best. He gave it his best.
Oh, we weren't catching Grant.
No.
He was not going to be thrown in that.
No, because he
Gary
knew
wasn't
once
big
we
enough.
started walking towards him, he knew something was up.
Yeah, he did.
The gig was up.
I'm sure our acting skills were probably really poor. I'm sure it was written all over our bodies. We're coming to create harm for you. And you're like, your spider sense was like, choo, 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 you know?
Come here, my friend. We are not up to anything.
Do you guys remember how disgusting that pond was, though?
Oh, yeah.
It was not a pond anybody
Oh,
swam in.
Listen. I remember. All right, what I remember of that is, and I think it was Larry that came up behind me.
Uh-huh.
I think and grabbed me from behind.
I did.
And then
I
we,
remember
and we fell down
specifically.
together.
Yeah.
Right. And then I realized it was either Gary or somebody said, "Okay, let's throw him in the pond." And I was like, "Man, there's at least, what was it, 6 foot? At least 5 or 6 feet of algae from the shore going out in the. It was bad.
It was bad.
It was really bad. And I just remember that somehow or another I started to get away, and somebody else was down there trying to grab my feet, and I kicked, and I don't know, was it you? And I came inches from their head, and I hit that big flower pot. Remember that, Larry? That
Yeah, I
big
do.
flower pot? And I
Yeah.
knocked it over, and it's like, it had to be, 3 foot in diameter or whatever. I mean, it was not
You
small.
were not going in that pond.
And then I got up and I took off.
was just not doing it.
Remember that? Yeah, I took
Not without
off.
restraints.
Oh
Wasn't
yeah,
gonna happen.
yeah. And I could hear Larry behind me, and I could hear Nathan coming, and I knew you were coming. But in my mind, I'm only thinking kind of like that joke about the grizzly bear. You know what I mean? I don't have to outrun the grizzly. I just got to outrun you. So I was like, okay, who's fastest? Who's going to be behind me? Who do I got to worry about? And I was like, I think it's Larry. And I looked behind, and you were like closing in pretty quick. By this point, I made my way around the other side of the pond because I was making a beeline for the back property. And I thought, I got to get in the house. That's my only shot. I got to be in the house. So I remember that. And then as I'm coming up around that corner, going to the house, then Gary is standing there, right? And he like goes to grab me, and all I saw was his cast on his arm. And I took 2 hands and grabbed his cast and cracked it over my knee. I'll never forget that because he just like bellowed out, and he fell to the ground. And then I kept running, and then I got up to the house, and that's when Dad came out. And he goes, okay, that's it, boys, we always jumping down, blah, 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 right? So that's, I just remember cracking him, and I've never talked to, I've never seen Gary ever since. He never called me after that. That was the last time I ever saw him.
I think at that time when
I
you
saw
did
him.
that, I was in the middle of throwing up some hams. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
I think your dad had that beer in his fridge for like a year.
Probably, but he didn't drink that stuff, man. He was not a drinker. Dad was never a big beer drinker.
Didn't that come from Grandma's house?
Oh God. Oh,
Wasn't the one
Jimmy.
the beer sitting on top of the
Jimmy.
water cooler for
All right,
15
hold on.
years?
This is for me. All right. This is honestly, Jim's going to take over here, okay? This is honestly a story that I don't think anybody in this room knows except you and I.
Oh, God.
And go ahead.
Gonna air more dirty laundry on here?
Let's just do
I thought
it.
we were already, I thought we were in enough trouble from last week, but if you want me to air this dirty laundry, I will.
Yeah, just do it. I'm a big boy. Go
We used to
ahead.
go to Grandma's house all the time, and
Yeah.
we'd play in the basement. Little kids and
Grandma
run around the
Enslow
basement. Yeah,
and
Grandma
Point
Enslow.
Place. Point Place, yeah.
And it was either in her car or the basement. Those were the two places we played. Mostly in the basement. And she had beer laying, she had a fridge, right, with beer in it.
She had a beer inside that like furnace workshop area, and then she had that like real elaborate formal bar area
Right.
that we played behind the bar.
Right, right.
And then she had their fridge in the other room.
Right.
And that's when Buck, her like
Yeah.
live-in boyfriend that didn't live with her, but he lived
Friend,
there.
kinda, yeah.
And he would help take care of her. And there was a refrigerator in there, and he was a big beer drinker.
Right.
And what did he drink? Most of the time,
I don't remember.
Coors.
Coors. Okay.
Yeah. Because that
Coors.
is
That's the beer that was
yeah, that's the one,
So
baby.
anyhow, in the basement, there's, the old water heaters, sitting on top of the water heater was a can of beer unopened. It's dusty.
Cobwebs.
It had been there
Oh,
a long, long time. God knows how long it had been there. But,
Not one of my best moments, but go ahead, Jim,
it
carry
was
on.
there every time we went there. So who's going to miss it if it disappears, right?
Ain't nobody gonna miss it, because ain't nobody stupid enough. But me.
But Grant.
So
What
it wasn't.
the hell is wrong with you?
So it wasn't a dare. You were just like, you looked at that and you're like, no one's gonna miss that. I'm gonna drink that.
I
I may have said something, but I
Okay.
don't remember.
Yeah, let's blame Jimmy, please. Please help me out. Toss me a bone here.
I did not drink any, though, but I may have said something.
Oh, yeah. We looked up at it, and this was, okay, guys, you gotta understand, this was not a one and done conversation. How often, Larry, did Jim come over to our house? How often did I see Jimmy? Every 2 weeks, right?
Every 2 weeks.
All right, so twice a month. So we would go summer, winter, all the different seasons, right? And we would be over there, once a month?
At least, yeah.
Okay. So this happened for many, many months, I'm going to say. I want to say years, but I'm just going to say months. Many, many months at that, we saw that up there. We go, hey, there's that can of beer still there. Hey, look, that can of beer is still there. Hey, now, it's on top of a hot water tank. That's not a cold area.
No.
Okay? So we kind of know it's got cobwebs coming off of it, and, I don't even know. Yeah, Jimmy, I'm going to blame you. I'm going to say you came up with the idea. So I pull it down, blow the dust off of it, crack it open.
But did it even smell skunky? I mean, it just had.
Oh, it was horrible.
How would we know? We never had a beer before.
Yeah, it smelled wonderfully skunky.
What
What do we know? We don't know that. We're just kidding.
How old were you?
I'm talking, what,
Jim.
9, 10, 11?
Oh my God. Yeah,
Just
you're
old
young.
enough to reach on top of the hot water.
Maybe Grant
Did they have one of
maybe
those old
Grant was
pull
10, I
tabs
was
on it? They
12.
come completely off.
Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
It was old. It was old, yeah.
Yes, it didn't fold in and then fold back. It tore off.
Yeah.
It was
An
sick.
old steel can,
Oh,
probably.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a sick person.
What did we do with it after you took a sip and about threw up?
I took like 2 or 3 guzzles. And then went like, oh.
Why would anybody drink this
Like,
stuff?
oh, now I know why it's been up there since 1936 or whatever. And if I recall correctly, we emptied out the rest of the can into the sink, and then we put the can back.
You just left it open.
And I think I
can
put it
of-
back.
Might
Yeah,
have.
I think I put
Very
it
smart.
back on top of it.
Very smart.
Because who's going to pull it down and look at it? Right?
Exactly,
They
right?
know it's been there forever.
Right.
It's part of the woodwork wall. You know what I mean? It's just part of the room now, right? So if it's there, they're
Yeah.
not going to notice.
And Jim, besides that, if Buck would have went down there and saw it, he would have just figured, oh, I drank it a while ago and set it
Oh,
up
he
there.
wouldn't have known.
You know, and he would have just taken it down to pitched it.
Right.
You know, and I don't remember, quite honestly, ever. I don't recall ever if that can was ever gone.
Did you ever
Not
get?
that I ever remember.
Nobody ever came up and said, "Hey, fellas."
No.
No.
Really?
No.
You have to remember with my grandma, with that basement and everything down there, they didn't go down there very much. You know, she was in her late 60s. Buck he had a bad knee, or they would just go down there to put extra stuff down there and then put some stuff in the fridge and then come back up, or some storage. But it was our play area. That's really what it was. It was more than that than anything. So, okay. But you know, that was a good segue. But I think what we're going to do here, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back,
Okay.
change some stuff up, and we got some more questions for Larry and Nathan.
Oh, definitely.
So you guys be ready.
When there though, I always get confused which bowl you're supposed to use because they're both bowls. No, I'm not. I think I used the wrong one.
Tell him, Nate, you're a loser.
Tell Deb I'm sorry.
Hey,
That was the one I used. Okay, good. Thanks.
Actually, I think the brown one's the wrong one, so that's actually really bad.
Oops. I've been using the wrong one the whole time.
Just 2 flush handles.
I know.
how many times I got to hit that loser button?
It rinses itself.
Oh, God. So, hey, since I've got some of our best critics here, Jim, why don't we ask Larry and Nate real quick just to give us kind of their opinion of the podcast, what they think, how it's been going. You guys have been listening to it, I know.
Sure you want to go down that road?
So, I think if we're going to get better at something, I think it probably
Okay,
makes sense.
okay.
So, why don't we hit Nate first, okay? We'll go to our friend Nathan Sanders over here and just give us your impression of what you think's
Okay.
going on.
So so I live in Minneapolis, right? So I don't see you guys very often, right? It's
Yeah.
just because life happens between the kids and work. You blink and the year's over, right?
Yeah.
And so what I love about it is that whenever we get together, we just sit around and hang out.
Yeah.
And then there's always sub conversations going on within the conversation,
Right.
where you two as brothers are constantly just. You have a whole sub conversation thread that's like it picks up and starts when you get together, and it just
Right.
pauses when you exit. Right. What I love about the podcast is I feel like I'm sitting in the room listening to the conversation being picked back up.
Right.
Right. Because the car episode, right? You and you guys talking about the cars, the Smokey and the Bandit.
Right.
That's not a show. That's actually what you guys would be talking about, right? Whether
Right.
you're recording or not. And that's what I love about it, right? And so
Yes.
I don't know if you agree, Larry, but it just feels like you're sitting in the room with them.
Honestly, I think they're dorks.
Well, I think
Thank you,
for you,
Larry.
Nathan, you're learning about a lot of stuff and hearing a lot of things for the first time. Where I think Larry's a lot of it stuff he's been involved with.
It's
Oh, yeah.
it's I'll be honest this time. It's cool. It's listening to it, and of course, naturally, because of the history we have, I'm a part of it. I've been a part of it, and it's good memory lane. It's healthy. This is healthy.
Yeah.
For you guys to do this, to keep your brother relationship going, just talking about memories and everything you guys done and current events or whatever, it's just all of it's healthy. It's just being able to talk to somebody and having somebody there to talk to, and
Yeah.
it's cool. I love it. Like I was saying on the break, I'll put my cell phone up on my computer in my car.
Right.
And I'll just drive around, man, and just drive around listening to you guys, hearing Jimmy's laugh, and I'm like, that's great, man.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. It's a good time. And people driving by looking at me, what's his problem?
I'll tell you myself. I'm doing the podcast, and when Grant sends me the link, I'll listen to it at work in my truck when I'm driving, and then I'll go home and then I'll watch it on YouTube again.
That's
I'll
fun.
actually watch it. So I'll listen to it twice. It's like, all right, now I want to watch everything. And
You're not trying to pad your viewership, is that what you're saying? Or
no, I'm not. Although this week I did have to watch the second time because Grant had asked me about something that he threw up there, and I'm like, I didn't see that. I was actually going through pictures.
We got
And,
in trouble.
Yeah.
We got in a little trouble.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, okay, I'll handle that part. Dad gives me a call, all right? And I think you guys both know, I know Nathan knows, but Mom and Dad bought another house.
I didn't know. No.
Yeah, they just bought a house.
Good for them.
Yeah, and in Holland area. So they're got their house there, and so Dad's calling me up and saying, "Hey, this is going on and that's going on," and he goes, "Hey, I listen to your podcast." And I said, "Oh, good, Dad. You like it?" And he goes, "Let me just tell you." And Nathan's just waiting. He's done every word right now. He's waiting. Dad says to me, he goes, "If I was a young man back then, I would have beat your asses." And then he starts laughing, just like you just did, Larry, just like you did. Yeah, he just starts laughing and said, "I can't wait to come on with you boys and have this conversation and talk to you guys." And then he says, "Make sure that when I come on, you ask me about my Corvette and your mom." I really don't know what that means. I really don't know.
I can't wait to ask
But
him.
we're going to ask him, and we're going to find out some crazy stuff.
That's crazy. I can't wait to watch that one.
Hey, also on the break, Larry, you were making some comments about a cassette tape. You want to go into that? Come on, let's do it.
Oh my goodness, where do I even start with that?
The beginning.
Well, we had to have been what? I want to say like 11, 12. Nice.
This is going to be a while.
I don't even know what prompted us to do it, but
Sorry, got to pee. Sorry.
excuse me, I'll be right back. I gotta use the 2 bowls.
All right, sorry, go ahead.
So we, for some reason, I don't know how this even started, but this was back. It had been in the 80s for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
What age do you think? We're 10, 12?
I would think so. We were
Spend the night at your house, right?
maybe 13, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably.
So Grant spent the night at my house, and we just decided to camp out in the basement. And I'm really not going to go into a lot of things that we said that night, but for some reason,
What?
we. My God, dude, we were talking about my sister. And what was that other girl's name? Was her name Mickey? I can't remember. Mickey Thompson, I think it was.
Probably.
So what made you record it, though? 'Cause conversations are one thing, but you said there's a cassette, which means you put a tape in and said,
Yeah.
let's hit record.
I don't remember whose idea it was, to be honest with you. It had to have been mine because it was brilliant, but
I can tell you, it was probably a co-production, kind of like this podcast with Jim. Back in those days, here's my age card. Back in those days, we didn't have recording devices like our cell phones then, obviously. So we did, everything was on cassette tapes.
Yep.
So, Larry had a bunch of cassette tapes, I did too. Jim and I had probably done hundreds and thousands of hours of,
Yes.
audio tapes on cassettes years and years ago. And that was just something that we always did, and I know that Larry was involved in a lot of that too, and he did a lot of that too.
that's kind of where we get our little nicknames too. Mr. Socrates.
Yeah.
Grant would always be, well, Larry. And that's how we started out with every conversation back then.
I think
He was
about it
just-
like this.
just, well, Larry.
This is how I look at it, Larry.
Well,
There you go. Jesus, will you stop being your dad?
And then I was, Mr. Sound Effects or something like that. Everything had to have some sort of sound effect.
Mr.
after
Sound
it.
Effects.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty good segue. You got any more on that, or is that it?
No,
I was going to say.
That's a good
I think
segue
I know
or
where
something.
you're going. But Mom was telling me that listening to the podcast, she said it reminds her of when we were younger and we'd sit in the bedroom, and pull out the cassette recorder and just record stuff. Do
Yeah.
fake interviews or make up stuff. And
Yeah.
I'll be honest with
Is
you.
that what you were leading to? Is that what you were?
No,
What's your
I've
sound
got
effects?
I've got something else that
Okay.
I'll get into, but that's okay. I've got it on my paper, so I won't forget it. But go ahead, Larry. What do you got?
I was just going to say, I really honestly think it was your idea. You were like, let's make a tape, man. And we sat down there and we were just pumped up. I mean, might have been the same night was that the same night that we decided to go down Van Ness? And
Is that the walkie-talkie night?
it might be the walkie-talkie night. What do you remember from that night, James?
You remember the walkie-talkie night?
Vaguely.
Oh, you
Vaguely.
got- Larry, go ahead. You tell him.
He's scaring the shit out of us.
Jim is
Vaguely.
pleading the fifth, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Sorry, Nathan, you're getting this education on us.
Oh,
and
I'm good.
What we're doing here, but go ahead, Larry. Set it up.
Is somebody on my band or something?
He still denies this. This is how long ago, and he still denies it.
How convenient.
I don't know what they're talking about, Nathan.
Huh?
I don't know what they're talking about, Nathan.
of course
I
not.
don't know.
New phone, who dis?
Yeah.
It might not have been. You spent the night so many times. It could have been another night.
Probably. But we're going to say it was the same night
And we're going to say the same.
because it makes it more fun.
We decided to get brave that night. We decided to go venture out after dark hours.
And how did we get out of the house, Larry? How did that work? Is that what your grandma was?
Dude, don't even start the grandma stories. You really don't even want to go with the grandma stories.
All right, never mind. We got out of the house.
So we decided we're going to go. Well, at the time, my house was right on the street called Bancroft.
Yep.
And if you went down 3 houses at the time and you turned left on the street called Van Ness, you walked down, I don't know, like 15, 20 houses. Yeah. And that's where Jim lived. And we decided we was going to just like, let's go exploring. Let's go be cool. Let's go do something fun. So me and Grant get dressed and
was
start
late- it was
walking
late,
down there.
too,
Yeah, it was late. And we boogie down there, and it was stupid because, knowing that I'm an adult now, if I saw some kids running down the street, hiding behind trees and stuff like that, I'm like, stupid kids. And wouldn't even think anything of it. Here we are, we're like, oh my God, your car, here comes your car. And we're like diving in bushes and everything else like that.
I'm sure people saw you too.
Oh, without a
You
doubt.
think you're being sly? They're like, what are these kids doing jumping behind that tree?
They definitely saw us. I mean, it was-
Turn my brights on to watch
Yeah,
him dive.
watch this.
We might as well have like a bright colored flag waving it when we were doing it, but and this is the '80s too. I mean,
Yes.
back then it was like not a big deal because
Oh,
nobody
no,
thought
no.
that they're breaking into cars or anything like that.
Yeah.
We ended up going to Jim's house, and
Yeah.
of course it was late, so we were not going to like ring the doorbell and say, "Hey, can we talk to Jim?" And what the heck are you kids doing here?
We
No.
were smarter than that.
Yeah, we knocked on the window. Yeah. Oh, I don't remember much from there. I mean, other than we talked to Jim.
Well, we had our walkie-talkies, and we split up. You're on the north side of the road, and I'm on the south side of the road, walking down the same street. And, we're doing the Martin McFly, the car, red alert, and us being stupid, and we're diving underneath, trees, and I just remember laying underneath an evergreen, right, like a pine tree, laying underneath there, and you're like, I think the car's gone now. Of course, the whole road's black, and I'm like, yeah, no kidding, dummy, they're gone. But we went over to Jim's, and we're like, he's not there, he's not answering the window knock or whatever, so we start walking down the street, and then all of a sudden, Jim comes on over the radio. Do you remember what he said?
Oh, he's like talking about kicking our ass, get out of his yard.
That wasn't me.
I know,
I'm like,
who you are.
I'm like, Grant, is that you?
No, I think that's Jim, because of course I knew his voice. I think that's Jim. It's not. I'm going to find you and beat you. You're like, oh my God.
I know where you live.
Yeah, so we just ran home. That
But then also, that was like at the time Rambo was pretty popular too, and I remember like, oh, I'm gonna be Rambo. I'm gonna walk through the creek.
Oh, sure.
Scoosh. How stupid I was.
Yeah.
Walking around with
Soaked
wet
your
tennis shoes.
soaked your issues, yeah.
So how would I have known you guys were on your walkie-talkies?
Really?
I don't know.
Still denies it. Still denies it
It's
to
just-
this day.
He's pathetic.
I
Okay.
know.
We
knows
love
what
him,
he did.
but he's a dork.
I need to confess someday to this.
Yeah, you have to come clean, Jim.
I honestly don't remember.
Hey, let me ask. I want to ask Nathan something here because this is kind of a little segue into it. I wasn't going where you're going, but I want to go where I was going to go.
Okay.
We're all 50 plus now, unfortunately, for our ages. But when Larry turned 50, you assisted me in making a video for the man. And I don't know if Larry was around or privy to hear the stories about Christy watching you from the sofa. When you
Oh
were
no, I seen the outtakes.
No, but you don't know what Christy was. Did she say something? Take it away. What do you think?
I plead the fifth because my wife will watch this. No, so for those of you who don't know me, I have a lovely wife, Christy, and 2 teenage daughters, Livy and Maddie. So I'm recording this in the kitchen with no context for any of them.
Right.
I was like, hey, I'm going to record a video for Grant. And they're like, well, that's weird. And then I start talking about Larry, and then I'm recording it. And so let's just say that the peanut gallery was confused
And entertained.
and entertained, if you want to call it that. So there's some shots were fired. So lovingly, of course.
Well, there was there was two specific videos that Larry, I told everybody to record. Okay, the first one is I said, okay, you know, I need you to say something to the effect of this, which was, oh, Larry knows I'm Larry's favorite, you're not, that kind of a thing. So there was that, and then the other part of it was I'm going to put some music to everything in the end. I just want you to jam out like you're jamming to some music, and there's no music there. I said I'm going to add the music later. Everybody went, oh, okay. So he's seen Nathan down here, he's jamming out, man. He's got the fingers up in the air, you know, he's jamming out like an 80s rock band. And all you can hear him going, and then, you know what? So after about two or three takes, you can see him doing like this, right? And all of a sudden, you see Christy's head pop up from the sofa going, what are you doing over there? You know? Oh God, that was so funny. That was so funny.
That was probably for that time of year, you know,
Yeah.
when we had COVID and lockdowns and everything, was probably one of the best gifts anybody could actually really get.
That was a tough year for everybody because I was supposed to have a 50th birthday party too that Deb was planning, and that got canceled. And you knew about that too, didn't you? Did she reach out to you? Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, yeah. So, but I got to tell you, we had so much fun because I was telling Jim, I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to try this. And then I went over to his house, and then I was over there, and you were in your backyard, right? And then I started doing some stuff, and I said, okay, Jim's going to jam out. So I put Jimmy Jam. Remember that on the bottom of the screen? It said Jimmy Jam. And then he's jamming out, and I'm sitting there right next to him, right? You know, and I'm jamming with him too. And later on, I looked at the footage, and I went, what was I going to do with that? I don't know what that is. So that's why I put on the video. I had no clue what I was doing here. You know, but it was so funny, and we had so much footage that when it was over with, I was able to put that blooper thing together, or the making of video, or whatever. So it was a lot of fun, man.
That was great. Did you guys ever see the ending video of that, the whole thing put together?
Yeah.
I want to say I did, but I don't know how long it was, but I saw one with a bunch of people, so I think I did see the video. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was very cool.
I mean, the way it was, kudos to Michelle. Michelle's my fiance, going to be my wife,
Yay.
which I'm very excited about.
Wonderful, wonderful lady.
Yes. Never have been excited to actually.
What the hell she sees in you, we don't know. But anyways,
Never know either.
Does
But
she listen to our podcast though?
yeah, it'll be over now. I thought I was getting married. Yeah. So, I guess at some point in time, Michelle reached out to Grant. She said that, she heard about this, and she wanted to make my 50th birthday party special, and she couldn't.
Yeah.
Her options were very limited because of COVID 2020. Everybody was locked down or whatever, and she got a hold of the absolute one person in the world that would have been the greatest choice to do it, and it was Grant.
wow, thank you.
And
Well, that's cool.
well, I mean, it
Maybe
was.
maybe
And
I'm not a loser.
the cool part about it was the way that I don't know who edited it, how it came out, or if it just came out that way, but it was like this storyline starting that Grant was doing with, the history of all our friends and relatives and stuff like that.
Right.
And then mixed in between it was people that I've met along the way, some really good friends, that I know through I belong to a motorcycle club and, through work and stuff like that.
Right.
And then boom, back to the story. And then, would have some more people, and then boom, back to the story. And then, the way it ended, with everything, it was just wonderfully put together. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not holding any punches back at this age. It brought tears to my eye.
Wow.
It really
I don't
did.
doubt it
was,
at all.
It was absolutely amazing. It was great. It
Wow,
was,
thanks.
it was one of the best things I've ever had given to me, or an effort like that done. It was cool.
Well, and we got some other guys from school that we haven't seen forever, right? And like Doug Scribner, Chris Boyk, Dwayne S.
Yeah.
Some of these other guys that we just grew up with, right? And thank goodness for Facebook, because we're friends with them. So I just reached out to him and I said, hey man, make me a 20-second, Phil Kazmierzak, make me a 20-second video. So I did that with everybody, and they came through. And I was just like, oh my
Jordan
God.
Merzriak was on it, too.
Jordan Merzriak, yep, our resident comic book maker. Yeah, he was on there too. It was just really nice, man, and I just thought it came out really well. You know, I was
That's
very
awesome.
happy with it.
It really was.
That was pretty cool. I'm not getting Phil messaging me, but let me see if I got him real quick here while you guys are talking. And he's not. So I'm going to ask Larry another story here real quick, and then I'm going to go over to, I got Nathan, I got something on here for Nate as well. I want to ask Larry, I'm going to have to take you back in time.
Uh-oh.
All right, this is one that, and I'm almost positive, I talked to Jim about this the other night, and I thought this was hilarious. But I know for a fact that Phil was there, and I was there. And I was dating Christy, he was dating Christine, right? And I'm pretty sure we were there, and for whatever reason, we all got a bug up our butt that we wanted to go to the club. And we decided that we're going to go to Henry J's.
Does it involve Long Island iced teas?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
So we go to the club, and the way Henry J's was laid out, I don't know if you ever went to Henry J's, Nathan. But the way that it was laid out is, it was like a big square, right? And they had the bar in the center, or not the bar. The bar was on the outside edges. There's two different bars, and in the center was a huge, big dance floor, right? And in the back of the dance floor was the DJ's booth, and above the DJ's booth was a great big, like,
Dance area.
yeah, but it was like narrow.
Yeah.
So you can only get a few people up there. And we're on the dance floor, and I'm almost positive that you were there. And we're all sitting there dancing, and somebody, and they're going to say it's me, but somebody came up with the idea, hey, let's go up. There's nobody up there. So we start going up there. Do you remember this?
I do remember this.
You
yes.
were there. Okay,
yes,
good.
I was.
So we went up there on this dance floor thing, and the DJ sees us as we're going up there, right? And he turns on the lights, and we get up there, and it's you, me, and Phil. Was Keith Drew there too? Was he there, or was it just us three?
I think it was just us three. I can't remember. There might have been somebody else there, but I can't, that's a long time ago. I mean, that's a real
Yeah.
long time ago.
Yeah. Well,
I do remember that night because I remember that was probably where I had a certain drink. You know,
oh, was that the Long Island?
that was the Long Island iced tea. That's the first time I ever had one. Was there. That's why I'll never forget that night.
Well, we started going up there, and the DJ sees us, turns the lights on, and as soon as the lights come on, it's just us three guys, and we're like spread out like YMCA dancers, right? We're spread out up there, and we're all facing the dance floor, and we just start dancing in unison. Wasn't pre-planned. We started doing like grinding and jamming, and all the girls on the dance floor freak out, didn't they? They started all screaming and hollering, and our girlfriends were like, yeah! We're just up there just going to town, and the DJ, as we come down, if I recall correctly, said something to the effect of, you guys need to be here every Saturday. Because we must have danced one or two dances. We come down, we're tired, I'm sweaty, I need something to drink, and I just remember that Phil was up there, and he was laughing his Phil laugh, if you remember what that sounds like.
Had
He was-
to been about Phil because of that mullet that he had. They were probably like all over him.
It's like Mel Gibson, man. Back in Lethal Weapon days. But yeah, that that was that one. Jim, you were thinking about something else. What did you think we were segueing into there?
Oh, the sound effects.
Yeah, Mr. Sound
The
Effects.
sound effects. I thought we were segueing into the making video or cassette tapes when we were younger with your little sound effects machine.
Oh yeah, yeah. Tell me some more about that. What are you thinking on that one? That we were just,
Oh, we were little though. I think
we were.
might have been 11, 9, 11, 10 in there.
Yeah, that was late '70s, I think.
And it was a Magic Merlin or something like that.
Yes, it was like
Is that
a
what it
big
was
red
called?
machine or whatever. Magic
That was
Merlin.
purple.
Was it purple?
It was a big purple, like
Maybe it was purple.
looked like a walkie-talkie,
Oh, my
like
God.
huge, like or a giant satellite phone, and it had all these different kinds of buttons and sounds, and they were dials too, so you could like play a police siren, but you could make it longer or short or faster, and you could make all kinds of sounds, helicopter sounds, and all these, but you could combine them. Mm-hmm. And we used to take the cassette tape and we, do little skits, and then use the sound effects. I remember falling out of the helicopter. Remember?
Oh yeah.
What was the line? Don't worry if you fall. Because the helicopter's going. This just starts slowing down.
Jim's
Oh,
trying
no.
to just ad lib and just go
I think
after
we're
it.
running out of fuel, and then he goes, you start falling. One of us fall, or no, don't worry. If we crash, we're above the Grand Canyon, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Why do I want to say you played this for me at some point? Because of what you guys are
Probably
talking
did,
about, I
'cause-
do remember
Yes.
hearing something.
Yeah, but all sorts.
But Jim forgets this part, okay? Is that he goes, number one, don't follow the helicopter because we're over the Grand Canyon. And he says, and don't worry, it's okay. If you do happen to fall out, we're not that far off the ground. And we went, like, what the hell?
I
You
was
know?
10. What do you?
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's
we,
amazing.
We did a lot of those videotapes, man. I do want to ask, I got another one for Larry. I want you to tell Nathan, because I don't think Nathan knows this story. Tell him about I think it was junior high, the junior high marker incident. Dun,
Oh,
dun,
I don't even
dun.
know why I did it. Well, we were in art class.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what was wrong with me. Girls will make you do weird things.
This was great. You're gonna have to like do the present. You're gonna have to do it all. Come on.
It was junior high because I'm trying to remember the girl's name, Amy. I think it was Amy. And she was a good looking girl. You know, as a matter of fact, when my dad passed away, and so I'm kind of in the process of cleaning up, you know, Dad's house and going through stuff. And my dad told me that all our stuff was gone. But long story short, I ended up finding a box of my stuff that I thought was just gone forever.
right.
And it was pictures from back when we were in junior high. And I'm like, holy cow. I'm going through these pictures. And I found this picture of this girl, and I'm pretty sure her name was Amy. I can't remember. If she ever does hear this, please don't be mad at me because I didn't remember your name. It's only been 30-some years. But,
Exactly.
so she was in our art class. And do you remember her name? The teacher was like Mrs. Whitaker or something like that. She's a black lady, thin black lady, wasn't she?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds right. But I don't know.
Yeah, so we were there and we had these markers and we were doing things, and for some dumb reason, I can't remember why I did it, but I decided to draw a mustache on me. And it was a big old curly Q mustache on both sides. And I look over at her and I'm like, oh, and we're laughing and everything. And Grant looks at me and he goes, "That's a permanent marker, you idiot." Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So I get up and I'm like, crap, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to walk through school all day like this. So I go up to the desk, the teacher's desk, it's Mrs. Whitaker. And I'm like, can I go use the bathroom? She can't
She
hear
goes,
me.
yeah.
And then, yeah, and she was like, why do you need to go? I don't remember how it played out, but at one point in time, it was like, because I got to get rid of this. I took my hand off, I was like, I got to get rid of this. And she was like, oh my God. She goes, yeah, she can go to the bathroom. I was in there trying to scrub it, and I came back, and it was still on there faintly. My face is all red from trying to
Beat
scrub on
red.
it.
Beat Raven. Scrubbing it unmercifully.
And I got laughed at by this hot girl, and I'm like,
And you got to wear that for the rest of the day. That was
rest
your
of the
punishment.
day. That was it.
It was faintly there the next day, so that was like the talk of the school for at least a day.
I say it was art class like first period because that would make it like 10 times worse. Right?
It was, yeah, it was bad.
And I wondered,
bad.
it's clear to me now, but I wondered all those days why your mom and dad call me geek all the time, but it's pretty clear right now.
You finally realized what the reason for it. Huh?
Exactly. Yeah.
It only took 35 years of growing up. but you
Clear as
learned it.
day.
Yeah.
I was a geek.
That was dad. Yeah, that was dad.
That's what I was going to say earlier when Nate was talking about how much respectful that was of him to go up and, fix his cummerbund with one swoop and everything like that. He was like, man, he's a really respectful guy. And I'm thinking to myself, what the heck, man? I never got that. He called me geek. What the heck did I ever do?
Well, maybe he felt bad for the cummerbund. I don't know,
I love your dad. He's a
The
great
fact
guy.
that he felt comfortable enough to say that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
respect him.
They love me like one of their own.
I know.
So,
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Well, everybody knows that dad well enough that if he kidded with you, he liked you.
Yeah.
If he didn't talk to you, now you're in trouble. If he didn't like you, he wouldn't even.
Well, it's just like you said, getting in trouble last week. Called you up and said if I was younger, yeah, your ass.
So yeah, it was almost like.
But he's really, really excited to sit down with us and tell us some stories that we've never heard.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be fun.
Hey, Nathan, I got one for you too. I was just thinking about, and nobody at this table knows about this story except you and I. So why don't you, if you remember, do you remember the story of me taking you to school when we drove the truck down to Kentucky, and I almost crashed it?
Well, which time did you almost crash it?
The one main time that I'm talking about, and you should understand what I'm saying. It's only once.
Well, First
I
off,
almost fell asleep, remember?
First off, we have the bright idea. Like, we loaded up the truck and we're going to leave in the morning. And then we looked at each other and we're like, why leave in the morning? Let's just leave right now. It's a 6.5 hour drive down to Kentucky where I went to college. And, yeah, it wasn't the best plan. There should have been a pullover moment at a rest area. Probably several times. That's why I was like, which time? Because we had those swerve moments where you were like, oh shit, I'm swerving, and I was like, oh, I was waking you up type situation. So I don't remember a big moment. I remember several moments but we still never stopped. That's the thing that as you look back as an old band, you're like, why the hell didn't we just pull over? It was so brilliant. It's 11 o'clock at night. We can be there by 7 a.m. We'll go straight through with no sleep. What could go wrong?
The one that I was kind of thinking of that I remember is that I was driving and we were approaching an intersection and this truck was going through the intersection, the opposite way of us, and he stopped in the middle of the intersection. I don't know if it's for other traffic, he had to stop where he stopped. And I'm driving, and I remember looking going, oh, look, there's a truck. And I kept going. And finally Nathan goes, Grant! I was like, so I was just going to drive right into it. I was in that much of a fog. I was like, oh, look, there's a truck.
I must have blanked my memory because I remember that now that you said it. I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that. And God, I was paying attention.
Stopped because the car was heading towards
Oh,
him.
no. They weren't heading toward me. I was going to T-bone the passenger side of the truck, the other truck. And that's kind of what that was, yeah. And I just,
What did you say you drove down there in?
my blue S10.
Really?
Yeah, we loaded up the S10, and it was a great drive. We had a great time.
I just came across a picture of that the other
okay.
day.
The S10?
Yeah.
Which picture is this you're talking about?
Wow, it's got.
Is that you and I?
Yeah, when I had my Mustang pulled in, you had your S10 pulled in, and you and I were in front of it doing the Bill and Ted. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I should have been called a geek with you. But yeah, that was fun though. But Nate, when we did that drive down to Kentucky, that was a great time, man. I had a really good time with that, and great conversations. But anytime that we ever stopped talking, and I was driving most of the way. I think did I drive the whole way or most of the way?
No, you drove the whole way.
Oh, good God!
No, because remember, that's when I was working at Roadway on the freight docks. And I
Right.
had tore my groin. And I didn't, and it was uncomfortable to sit. And I was like, well, I don't want to drive because, I'm having painful issues at this moment. So, thank God, that's probably what kept me awake to be able to see him getting ready to T-bone that truck.
Oh my God! I just remember that because I would have just drove right into it. I would have just, oh look, a truck. Just I would have just crashed right into it. I would have just went right into it.
Yeah, but just-
Nathan, were you with us the senior skip day? Did you go to Cedar Point with us?
The black Camaro was in front of me.
Okay, you were there.
Oh, hell yeah!
There was two fine gentlemen named Larry and Jim in front of me. And you guys made the wise decision, which I thought was fascinating, to put a CB in each vehicle.
Oh, because that's how we roll, baby.
So the story that I always tell is that we're driving, and we are well above the speed limit.
How many cars did we have going?
2. I remember 2.
Okay.
Because Grant and I were in one, and you and Larry were in front. And randomly, for no reason, which I did not understand, but I thought was the funniest dang thing I'd ever heard in my life, Jim picks up the CB and goes, "Lottie-dottie." And I just was like, what the hell was that? So I looked at Grant. Grant goes, "Lottie-dottie," right back. And to this day, it still cracks me up because there was no prior conversation. There was no point to it. There was no lead up. You just went, "Lottie-dottie." And then it was quiet for a while. And then Larry goes, "Lottie-dottie."
We like to party. We don't cause
Oh
trouble.
my
We
God.
don't
Yeah, that's my driving to Cedar Point memory. Because it was just that stupid moment that was the funniest thing for no reason, right? That's the best part about it. Because you guys have been talking smack. I'm going to get there first. No, I'm going to get there first, And
Yeah, we're stupid.
when he had the CB, when Larry had the CB, Jim was yelling. When Jim had the CB, Larry was yelling, right? And
Right.
everybody's just talking smack. And it was just that quiet, calm moment. And then, here comes Jim. So, and that started that for like a good 20 minutes.
That drive was insane. I'm sorry. Jim, watch this. Ooh, just passes.
Oh, my
That's-
God.
It was a senior skip day that you were talking about?
That would be the day, Jim, that you passed the person in the emergency lane to make sure that you beat us to Cedar Point. That's my other memory of the drive there.
You do that. You did that before. We talked about that. Oh,
Senior
man,
skip
you
day,
got.
Deb was with us too. In her own car.
She was fine. We lost her. We ditched her.
You don't remember that?
No, was she following us?
Yeah, she was car
She
number
followed
3.
us and her dad's Jimmy. I know Larry remembers.
Yeah.
And she had a couple of her friends. And they weren't going with us. They were going separately, but they didn't know how to get there. And when I got to Grant's house in the morning, he said, you know, I knew who Deb was. I had met her. No, was that the first time I met her?
That was one of the first times.
It might have been the first time I met her. He goes, this is Deb, and she's going with her friends. They need to know how to get there, and they want to follow us, if that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
No problem.
Good luck.
Very long.
Good luck.
We're
Does your
passing-
car do 110?
We pass everybody.
So we're passing people, and I remember Grant, Jim, you were behind me with
Yeah.
Nathan,
Yes.
and
After you illegally passed all those people.
Deb can't get around the car that we just passed. Okay, we'll wait a little bit. She's tried a few times and she's not making it, and I'm still passing people.
Oh my God.
So you finally go and catch up to me, and I'm like, it's okay, we're close enough. She'll find us. She'll find Cedar Point for now. I said, if she just stays on this road, she's gonna see a sign.
She'll see a sign.
Yeah.
We got her on the main road. That's all that counted.
Oh my God.
And when we got to Cedar Point, I remember getting to Cedar Point, and we went to the restrooms right away. Of course, you know, because we'll drive, and we come out, and there's Deb and her friends, and they're all standing around, and they come running over, and I'm like, see, we found it.
Oh my God. I feel like, and who was Nate with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're in your show.
I almost feel like Nathan and I had a conversation when Jim's like, okay, Jim's leaving us, and Deb's getting further away. Jim's far, you know, like we're in the middle. Deb's getting further and further behind us. I'm just trying to keep Jim in my eyesight. I'm just trying to keep him in my range of sight.
But you knew where you were going.
And, no, I knew where I was going, but we're
Well,
just
no.
trying to stay together.
The problem is that Jim was talking smack every millisecond that he was getting ahead of you.
Yeah.
And you were trying to. I remember Deb being
Where's
there.
the
I remember the.
emergency lane?
What's that?
Where was the emergency lane that I passed in?
Had to have been
Right
right,
before
around
we got there?
Davis Bessie, I would imagine.
There's it's 2, right, that goes to Cedar Point.
Yep.
You know, there's spots in 2 where the road gets wide, and when the road gets wide, they have an emergency lane there.
Oh, okay.
And you had been playing this game where you're coming up, and then all of a sudden there's an emergency lane. You went whoop, and I looked at Grant and I was like, "Don't do that."
For the non-racing community, they call that 3 wide. But what I was saying is I recall looking at Nate, because I couldn't remember it was him in the car, but I remember going, okay, at what point do we just go? Right? Because it's like Jim's getting further and further away.
I remember that
and he's going to be
conversation
gone. And
now.
I almost feel like saying, okay, at what point do we just save it? And I'm pretty sure you just said, screw it, let's go. Just go. I went, okay. And then I hit the pedal
remember.
down and
I
all.
remember. So I still don't remember that it was Deb. I do remember there's a third car now that you brought it up, and I do remember that we
How
were
funny is
discussing
that?
it. I don't know which one of us said, "Screw it, let's go," but we were in complete agreement. So whoever said it first, we're like, "Yep,
Let's go.
it's over." Because I mean, I do remember turning around and looking now and going, "We're trying to decide what to do," and I was like, "I can't even see him."
Yeah.
I think that's when we were like, "Let's
Well,
just go."
That's what we were saying too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And
I just remember it because it's the story I've told often because it's the first time I met Deb.
Yeah.
The woman I married.
And
You
he-
know, I
and he
left her.
ditched her. It seems to me, I recall hearing over the CB, "Baba baby."
No, I never did that.
Oh, I wish you would have.
You know, Jim, she was attracted to your superior driving skills, right? So
She
it was
is.
actually
She
a
is.
good day because she's like, he is such a good driver.
Well, she wanted to date Grant. She goes, but man, his brother kicked his ass driving
What
up
the
there.
hell is wrong with you?
Well, folks, it was nice talking with you. We're going to conclude.
She knew. She wanted cold trickle that day. She knew what was
Oh,
going
my
on.
God. Tell you what I told you the first time I beat you, Rubbin's Racing, Jim.
To Grant's defense, he was in the Busch Series. You were in Winston Cup. So
Thank you very much.
Oh, they're just ganging up on me left and right.
Yeah. What were you driving?
The Chevelle.
It was Phil.
Yeah, the
No
Chevelle.
wonder I whipped his butt.
So, in the Camaro, yeah. You can't do a 6 versus an 8. That just don't add up.
No.
That don't work out at all.
Well, I think that's the first time I took the Camaro up there too. So,
But you know-
I was having a lot of fun with the V8.
There's even another good story in regards to going up to Cedar Point that I don't think happened on that trip, or maybe it did. Where Larry was in the opposite car from me, and I'm eating cheese balls. Did you forget about that, Larry?
Oh,
You remember that?
you were in my car with me,
Okay, all right.
and Larry was in his
and Larry's-
Batmobile.
and he-
Yeah, it was an old Cutlass.
And he's driving up next to me, right? And he's just looking at me. We're looking eyeball to eyeball going down the road a lot faster than we should have. Sorry, Dad. And I'm eating cheese balls, and Larry's just driving, right? He's just driving. He goes, so do that again. And Jimmy was laughing. Watch this. I must have done it like 4 times. And Jim's like, "That's hilarious. Now stop. You're wasting all the cheese balls.
The cheese balls.
Don't waste my cheese balls." Oh, I forgot about
We
that.
laughed at that for so long.
Oh, I know.
It was so simple.
What the hell do we think was going to happen? Throwing out a cheese ball at 85 miles an hour.
We weren't going that fast.
We were doing a speed limit.
81.
Yeah, I don't think we were going.
It
that
just
fast.
felt fast because you were young. You weren't actually speeding.
Well, we were in the 2-lane before we got down to left town. We were to 1 lane each way. We were just driving, just having fun.
Oh my God. I've got a story that I could tell Nathan about somebody that we all know named Larry.
Why did I become the center of attention? Can
I
we
don't
talk
know.
about Jim for a little bit?
No.
We just did.
We just did. And his superior driving skills over his 6-cylinder son or brother. There was a time, Nathan, I'll tell you the story. I'm just going to kind of like get my way into it here a little bit. But there was a story where Larry decided that he was going to have a whole bunch of friends over. And he says, "Grant, you need to come over. I want you to come over too," right? And we were pretty young, so we weren't driving cars yet. At least I wasn't. So I had my bicycle, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna get on my bike, do my homework, whatever I got. I'm gonna jump on my bike, and I'm gonna head over there to whatever time that was supposed to be." And I remember telling my mom, "Hey, I'm gonna jump on the bike and I'm gonna go over to Larry's house." And my dad overheard it, right? And he's like, "Oh no, you need to do this, and this first, and then you can go." I'm like, oh man. Okay, so I start doing the best job, the fastest you've ever seen, in history of mankind. And I get all my jobs done. I jump on my bike. I'm riding over there. I'm a sweaty mess because I'm rushing and trying to get over there, right? Because they decided they were going to have a couple of drinks at Larry's house.
Well, let me do a little precursor on this
Yeah,
because
you go ahead.
this is, I'm almost positive this was either a freshman or sophomore year in high school. And at the time,
Probably freshman.
we had half days during exam week. We would only go to school for a half day and then we'd go home. So, and I don't know who did this, but there were people there like Doug Scribner was there, Chris White was there. It was either Tony or John House. I can't remember. They were there.
John.
Steve Duenas was there too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was. So, anyways, we decided that we was going to throw this little impromptu party at my house because there was nobody there. I didn't, my dad was working, and
Your sister wasn't there.
my sister wasn't there at the time, and so I was like, all right, cool, everybody come to my house. So we get there, and we were idiots. I mean, we were kids. We're not drinking pros by any means. We start playing quarters. We started playing quarters with the worst possible thing you could think of. It was any hard liquor we had. It was
Yeah.
like Canadian whiskey and Jack Daniels.
Schnapps.
It was just crazy.
So mixing.
So a half hour later, we're all like drunk.
Yeah,
Playing
of
quarters.
course.
So it was a complete mess. Now, I don't remember a lot of this because I think I just went upstairs and napped because I didn't drink underage. But Grant was kind of recanting all this for me, and he was telling me about the complete catastrophe while I was taking my nap and getting over the flu or something.
Yeah. Drunken flu.
He said that it was crazy. He said my dad had this Jaguar. It was like 1968 convertible Jaguar.
Yeah, nice car.
Throw up all over the side of it. There was two guys up in the bathroom laying over each other in the bathtub from throwing up.
Passed out, by
Passed
the way.
out, yeah. And then there was like
People in the-
barbecue potato chips all over the house.
Yeah, ground in,
Ground in.
stepped on it. People
My-
passed out in the front yard.
Yeah. That time, my dog Tanya, she was a little Norwegian
Yeah.
Elkhound. She had like shaving cream saturated in her.
Yeah. Somebody found your fireworks.
Yeah, Steve Duenas was still the only one standing out front lighting off fireworks in the middle of January.
Yeah.
That's not drawing attention
On a main road.
on a main road. So meanwhile, Grant's at home because whatever reason he
I got stuck doing
got
chores.
stuck doing like 700 chores.
Yeah. So I
So-
finally got on my bike and rode over there as quickly as I could. I was about 40 minutes late. And that's all the time it took. 40 minutes late. And I pull up in the driveway and, I see some people in the front yard. I'm pretty sure I had a quick conversation with Steve Duenas because he was lighting fireworks. I go in the house and I think you were on the couch at the time. You weren't up in your room sleeping as of yet. And you're like, Grant. Oh, God, Grant. I'm so sick. My dad's going to be home. Tanya's hiding under the shed or under the garage or wherever she would hide, right? You got to, oh, God, Grant, you got to help me. And I'm like, you guys all suck. I came over here to have a couple of drinks. Had I been on time, I'd have been somewhere in that house passed out with the rest of them, right? I would have been.
But the thing is, my ass wouldn't have been saved.
No. God loves you. God loves you. So, anyways, real quick, I just, I took you and put you in bed. Got you upstairs, put you in bed. Got the two drunk asses, whoever they were, out of your tub. Somebody had driven over. I put their drunk asses in their car and made them leave. And they drove away. Because I didn't know any better. I was this kid, right?
See you, good luck.
Yeah.
You have slept a little bit. You're all right.
You're okay. Okay, man, thanks. Steve left. Everybody that we had that was there, I got everybody out of the house. I started cleaning up the house because I was like,
The entire house.
It was everywhere, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
you
so.
cleaned it
Got
up.
Tanya out from underneath
Clean
the garage.
Tanya up,
called-
clean the
yeah,
puke up,
off
just
the car,
everything.
off the Jag.
He would picked up every crumb from the
You know why he
barbecue.
wants to go over this, right? You know why he wants to tell the story.
Why?
Why
He wants some retribution, man. He cleaned up after
Oh
you.
my god.
Yeah.
Oh my
I think
god.
we're missing
What are
the
you gonna do
point
for me,
of
Larry?
the story, though. That Larry threw a 1980s party movie
Yeah.
party.
Yeah.
Yes.
You did, because if you think about all those cheesy 80 party movies,
That's it.
Larry had a cheesy 80s party
He sure
movie
did.
at your house in real life.
It only lasted an hour, though.
That's almost what makes it even better.
It was everything except the kid, trapped underneath the glass coffee table, but everything
Yeah.
else.
You're missing the dead guy that they dressed up at Weekend at Bernie's and the kid under the glass coffee table going, I can't lift it.
No kidding aside, though, Grant saved my ass.
Oh, I can only imagine.
What did your dad say when he got home? Tell me
As
that.
I'm literally, my dad's pulling in his Grant's going out the door to get on his bike and leave. Hey, Mr. Emery. He's gone.
Yeah.
Dad comes in the house and he's like, hey, you did a great job on the house. It looks great. Just give me all these things. Oh, thanks, Dad. I'm just not really feeling good. Grant came over and helped me out a little bit. Good job. To this day, I don't think I ever told Dad about it. I may have. I don't remember. But my dad, as I got older, my dad was pretty more liberal stuff. He didn't ever.
He was
really
pretty
got-
mellow.
Yeah, he just.
Now, the dog probably tried to tell him. The dog probably kept looking at him going, do I smell like shaving cream? I smell like shaving cream.
Yeah, smell my ass. Smell my ass. Smell my ass. Well, I even took all the bottles that they had taken from them because your dad kept them in the basement, right?
Yeah.
And so they brought them up there all over the house. I had to find them and I had to fill them with water back up to the line that your dad had drawn on the bottles. I'm pretty sure there was a line on the bottles.
Oh, jeez.
So I had to do all that and put all that shit back and make sure that was done right. And I literally left as he was pulling in, and he waved to me, and I waved to him, and I got in the bike and I took off because I was like, I don't want no questions. I'm out of here. You know what I mean? So that was good. And then he goes, yeah, Larry, hey, you did a nice job. You did your chores. You cleaned up the house. I'm really proud of you.
So, did you come too before Grant left?
I did. I was waking up and feeling better.
Better.
And it was a serious flu thing. It was like only an hour-long flu.
Weird. Hate
But
those.
and I took all the credit with my dad too. I was like, I worked really hard on this, Dad. Grant
I was-
sat there and watched TV,
I was sick.
watching Tom and Jerry.
I was sick.
That's
and
great.
I cleaned the house, Dad.
Yeah. Grant was no help at all. You'd think he'd help a sick friend.
No, that's not. That's not how I work.
not your
right?
style.
No.
That story's been told over the decades, and it's always ended the same way. You saved my ass. You really saved me on that one.
Well, the only thing I'll tell you about that is that if the roles were reversed, you'd have done it for me.
Oh, for sure.
You know.
I remember another story I'd like to talk about from somebody saving her ass when somebody was yelling at you, I'm going to call your parents.
Oh well, let's come back to that. We're going to take a break. And we'll come back to that. Never.
That's how it went. But
I want to.
no, we kind of left off with you saving my butt
Yeah.
because I was definitely going to be in a position where I was going to be really feeling it from Dad if he would have walked in the way you walked in the house.
Yep.
But then there's another story where somebody else, another savior, saved one of our tails. Yeah, that was a crazy night. We all decided that one night it was at your house now, and
Yeah.
your mom and dad, I think they were on one of their bowling or golfing trips. I don't remember. It had to have been like a golfing thing or something. I don't remember what it was.
Probably.
And
Cindy wasn't there.
no,
So someone else was supposed to be watching us and making sure that we were doing the right thing.
You.
So, oh no, I wasn't to be trusted,
I
which
wasn't in charge.
probably made sense.
I wasn't in charge. I just came home for the weekend. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
What the hell is wrong with you?
I don't believe anybody said you're in charge to me.
well, by default, they would say that the older person should be,
Yeah,
you know,
didn't take
kind of in
much.
Hey,
charge.
I think I even drove my own car over. I could have not come over that weekend, you know?
But you did.
You invited me.
Well, I invited you. Okay.
You said, bring the beer.
You know, actually, I think he's right as far as inviting him, because we had a bunch of people over.
This could be true. This could be true.
If I remember correctly, I
Who was
know, I know me,
You.
you,
Oh, I wasn't there. I was on a golfing trip.
Mark Smith,
Yeah. Smitty was there.
Jimmy,
Jimbo.
Brian Bays,
BB.
How's that go?
Brian Bays,
Yeah, money.
And
David
And
Carroll,
David Carroll.
David Carroll.
Who I probably will not be Facebook friends with after he hears about this or sees it. But
that's
go ahead.
long- well, we don't have to get into everything.
Oh,
He doesn't like me anyways. It doesn't matter.
We don't, we don't have to discuss everything, but that's quite a few. That's a big list for you.
So,
Be
anyways,
home alone.
that, yeah, well, I'm
How
not a
many is
very,
that? 6?
I'm not a good son, okay? I'm not a good son.
Well, but what it was is you were afraid of the dark,
Yeah.
and it was going to get dark at least one point, so you had a lot of people over to make you feel better.
Yeah, because the sun goes down every day.
Every day.
Every day.
That's what it was, right? It was just.
Yes.
It was just safety in numbers.
That's
It is.
That's what it was, Mom.
And you want to know what? It was
Jimmy's
really.
fault.
It's hard to have 6 people over and you can't watch any movies because you're not allowed to use the VCR. It's horrible.
and I just want to point out too.
Yeah, what's that about?
I would just like to also point out that Grant is my elder by 4 months,
Oh,
2 months.
You can't even count. It's 2
His
months, you
fault?
schmuck.
So I was being influenced by an older child.
let me add here. As I recall, I was, making macaroni and cheese or something in the kitchen, and when I came out,
you were.
3 people were gone. That's all I know.
That's how
Oh,
the mob
Graham,
works.
I don't remember anybody saying, "Hey, we're going out for a while."
That's how the mob works.
I was like, hey, Grant, where you going? Don't leave me behind.
All right, so what happened?
So, anyways,
Let's get this dumpster fire over, okay?
He crawled out the window.
I guess it's better than falling out of the bedroom closet.
Yet again. Or tearing a cabinet down with your ass. Anyways, hey, M&M's.
So, so we decided that we're going to go exploring again. We like doing this exploring thing for some reason. Grant and I did.
Right. And Smitty.
And Schmitty.
Yeah.
We did a couple things.
It wasn't in the middle of the night though.
No, it wasn't like 3 o'clock in the morning. It was more like evening, like 10, 11 o'clock.
It was like 10:30, 11 o'clock maybe. Yeah. But it wasn't like at 2. Yeah, it wasn't 2 and 3 in the morning. Let's just.
Let me put it to you
Yeah.
this way. It was late enough to where a young lady that was still of high school age shouldn't be having visitors.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Where's this going?
Weird. I don't know, like it's...
I don't like this. I don't like this.
Well, we end up going out and, seeing what trouble we can get into without really getting into trouble,
Yeah.
knocking over mailboxes and such.
Right.
Smitty.
Schmitty. Ended up, we went over to a young female's house by the name of what I think her name was Natalie, wasn't it?
Yes.
Natalie.
That's what you told me it was.
Yeah. Natalie and Grant, they kind of liked each other. And when I say like,
we
they
had a thing.
Yeah, they were liking each other.
Yeah. Like.
And somehow I think there was an arrangement before we started our little explorations, and we ended up going over there
Okay.
to the sum of somebody knocking on Natalie's window and saying, "Hi, how are you?"
How you doing?
Lo and
You
behold,
didn't know. You didn't know that then.
I didn't even know it then.
a voice from off in the distance says, "Natalie, honey, who are you talking to?"
Uh oh.
Yeah. And what did you do?
Shit! Ran.
Yeah, he bails. He bails on me.
You're on your own, see ya.
And all of a sudden I hear this.
Me and Mark, literally, I think we disappeared into the darkness like we were a shadow.
Yeah.
We slinked away. We didn't leave him. We just slinked away. While Grant got the butt chewing of his life from Natalie's mom.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
While looking eyeball to eyeball to their two Dobermans that, had she not been there, I would have not been here. Probably. Because they were like, oh, a snack.
You'd have just been a little mauled, talking a little funny, looking a little funny, but you would have probably survived.
So about
Maybe.
about the time he was getting his butt chewed out, it ended with something like, "Wait until your parents hear about it, or I'm calling your parents," something to that tune.
Yep.
And then she ended it. And then it was like simultaneously, the three of us looked at each other and we like, "Jimmy." And
not doing anything.
We ran as fast as we could. I mean, we were just like jumping fences, we're cutting through yards,
Yeah.
getting all the way back to Grant's house, running the house. Here's Jimmy with an apron on, wooden spoon in his hand.
Mac and cheese
Mac and
night.
cheese. Mac and cheese, guys. That's mac and cheese.
Okay.
And the only thing that Grant could get out of his mouth when he walked in that door was, "Jimmy, oh my God, you got to do me a favor. I'm never going to ask you to do anything for me ever again. You just got to save my ass. You got to act like your dad."
I said that a lot. And I think I said, your dad, your dad,
Your dad,
your dad,
your dad.
your dad. And
What?
Jim's like, what?
What?
Then
Your
the
dad,
phone rings.
Yeah. And then what happened, Jim?
Oh, I don't remember.
You were on, you're on the Hello, this is Jim Misson's home. I'm not Jim Misson. I'm his son, James Misson.
The phone rang and I picked it up. And I said, hello. And I forget what she said her name was. Wanted to know if this was Grant's dad. So I said, yes. Because Grant asked me to. And I just kept my voice down, lowered, and she's just explained how he was over at her house talking to her daughter, and it's a late hour, and I think you should know where your kids are, and blah blah blah. And
Yep.
I said I had no idea he left his room, but I will definitely be disciplining him.
I do remember specifically you one time had said, "Oh, did he?"
Yes, I did.
Did he? For a half second there, I thought that was really dad. I thought, oh man, that's a dad. But that was kind of, going back to one of our first podcasts, that was kind of characteristics of the 80s.
Yes.
Because the parents did that kind of stuff. They call the other parent. Nowadays
Yes.
they don't do that at all anymore.
No.
They don't care. They don't want to be involved. They just want you
And
to
I
know.
do want to say that after I hung up the phone, I did discipline you. I sent all your friends home and grounded you for the rest of the weekend.
Thank you. You actually did. You hung the phone up and you looked at Grant and you said, "You're grounded."
I did say you
I did.
And he didn't leave the house the rest of the weekend.
Nope, I was in trouble, so I didn't do it. Yeah, that was kind of scary
So
because
I did discipline.
those dogs were nasty. But yeah. I just remember coming out going, "Your dad, your dad, your dad, you gotta do this, your dad, ring. And Jimmy just looks at me and picks up, and I think at that moment, that's when you kind of went, oh, I get it now. Is this Grant's dad? And you went, oh, I get it now. I'm dad. Okay. Yes. Yes, it is. You did what?
Oh, did he?
Really? He did, huh?
That
Yeah.
was, oh, did he?
Oh, did he?
I'm sitting there chewing my nails like I'm going to get in trouble. I'm like, there's no way my dad's ever going to find out. I don't care.
Oh, my God.
No, I think I was more worried about your dad after what he did with us.
Oh, he'd come down on you too.
Oh, yeah, he would.
Yeah.
Would have just assumed you were there, basically.
Probably the one that instigated the whole thing, I would imagine.
Yeah. And that was the day that my brother became my savior. And he saved me.
I do believe we did have a little talk after that.
That was the day my
you
brother
did- 'cause
became
then
my
you did come
daddy.
through. You did come clean with all the stuff you were doing, and I was like, you guys got to be a little smarter than that.
Didn't you start the conversation by saying that you weren't in charge?
I wasn't in charge.
This is why I brought Nathan in. He's my counsel.
I was not in charge.
I was like, Your Honor, I'd like to point out that he said he wasn't in charge.
I wasn't. That doesn't mean I can't discipline and scold.
That's right.
So what happened with you and the girl? Did that end it? Or did the forbidden love make it so exciting you guys had to keep hanging out?
No, pretty much. It was on a road to nowhere to begin with. And after that, she was like, well, my mom doesn't want me to talk to you anymore. And I went, oh, all right. Okay. Just moved on to, I think it was her friend Michelle. And then-
Trailer, wasn't it? Shell trailer.
I think so. And then I started like going, hey, so how you doing?
Oh my gosh!
And anyways, and
Michelle's
that,
parents were okay with, late night.
yeah, they
boys coming in there.
That's not our only late night adventure that we had like that.
Oh, let's save that for another time.
oh my God.
I
Just go on without
100%.
That's all
was
I'm going to
not there
say.
for that one.
That's all I'm going to say to that one.
Yeah.
Just go on without me. I'll be all right.
I'm okay. And you're like, no. Never been so happy to see blinking lights in my life.
Oh my God.
They're like, what?
Well, you might as well get it all out there while you're going at it.
No, I'm not doing that. That's not for tonight.
That's a whole
I
nother
think if
dumpster
your
fire.
parents watch this is going to be overload on them.
Yeah.
So we need to give them a break.
Was that the long bike ride one?
That is the long bike ride.
If you start talking about blinking lights, I'm like, oh, that's the long bike ride.
That was a long one. That was a long one.
All I have to say, Grant, is she couldn't have been that cute. That's all I have to say. And I'm sure Larry was thinking that the whole way back.
He's like, she was cute, but she's not worth all the mosquito bites that he incurred. I'm surprised he didn't go to the hospital.
I'm left outside while he's
He's
doing
cool.
whatever, and mosquitoes are just literally just sucking me dry of blood on my ankle.
We're not going to get into the other stories, but this is one of a long list of excursions that Grant has made for the opposite sex. I just want to say that. And we'll cover them all right here on Pardon Me, Brother.
This will be our final episode. I'm so sorry. Based on funding, there's not going to be any more.
Funding your Grant's death after his parents listen to this. Your dad catches up with you, right?
I'm so screwed this time. I'm so screwed.
It's gonna be an interesting Thanksgiving dinner. I would imagine.
Why did you want to do this podcast again?
For so many other reasons.
So, when Deb came back, right? And she's like, how's the podcast going? And I'm like, I think it's going to be the last one because when this one comes out, I said that we pushed the line on this one a little bit.
Oh, it's been fun though. It's been a good time. Hey, let's swing to something, Larry, a little bit better. Remember in high school when I had the Chevelle?
Of course.
You had the Cutlass. And
Story in itself.
yeah,
That's a funny story.
that's a good story too. Well, I was thinking about that one, but why don't you tell us a story about when Recto backed up into me? What happened with that? What was that all
Oh
about?
my gosh. So, all right. So, I mean,
Set the stage.
I got to set the stage. So, Grant was driving his Chevelle, which was 68, right?
Mm-hmm.
68 Chevelle. I had my 78 Olds Cutlass Supreme. And I think all three of us here have seen that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then Recto had a 69, or was it 68?
Yeah.
68 GTO Judge, orange.
Nice.
Yeah,
It
beautiful.
was nice.
car.
It was a beautiful car. It was a nice car. So when we would go to Rogers, the old Rogers, in Nebraska, they had, if you went to the side of the girls' gym, and you're probably not familiar with it. It's basically on the east side of Rogers. They had a parking lot where the students could park in. And, of course, we had cool cars. We don't want anybody parked near us because they don't want to open up their car doors in our car.
Yeah, had to back them in
And we
and
had to back them in and
Turn
turn
the
an
wheel.
angle and everything else
turn the
like
wheel,
that.
show off your rims.
Yeah, rev the motor up before you shut it off. Trying to remember how this went. I remember Rectal pulled in.
Not rectal,
We did.
recto.
I said Rectal.
Did you say rectum?
No.
Okay.
How dare you make fun of somebody's heritage? Recto.
Got it.
Recto.
No, I just couldn't hear him very well.
So he pulled into the parking lot with his GTO judge. He pulled forward into the parking space. And me and Grant thought it would be a good idea if we decided to pull behind him. Kind of block him in. Recto's car was here. We pulled here. Grant pulled there. Recto was a smaller guy. I think he was Filipino, was he not?
Yeah. Super nice guy.
Really, really great guy. He just, in that car, it was maybe difficult for him to see blind spots or behind him. I think I was probably a little bit more cushion area. Grant pushed the envelope a little bit to get closer to make the dramatic effect, so to speak.
Yep.
So Recto decides he wants to start backing up. Sees me. Recto sees me. Starts laughing. So I'm starting to back up a little bit. Never even sees Grant. Just backs right into him. 68s. Two cherry and you got my ratty Olds Cutlass 79. It's like 10 years older or newer. And all I can see when this is happening was like slow motion. As you see Grant just sitting there, he had this smile on his face at first, like, yeah, we got him. And all of a sudden, he wasn't stopping. And all of a sudden, you can just see, and you can just look at Grant when he just doesn't stop, and he's like, his face never changed. It went from a smile, it just never changed. And then Recto's like, what? Oh my God, what happened?
What I hit?
Yeah.
Jumps out of his car, goes around and looks. Felt horribly bad. Grant had like a little dent in his car.
Yeah. Front fender.
Yeah.
Right around the
I'll
headlight.
never forget that look. It's like no fun whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean,
He did feel bad. Not a mark, I might add, on
Yeah.
his car.
Wow.
It just didn't.
Well, that's good.
But
it was
my
crazy.
car, yeah, that was like, oh God, that was. It's like, oh, that's the last time I used my car as a blocking agent. I'm not gonna do that anymore. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that anymore.
That's crazy.
Hey, we had also talked about, and we haven't addressed this in a bit, but we had talked about taking a guy's trip before. with
Yeah,
all
so
of
I'd
us.
love to do that.
And we started down that road, and then stuff happens, which is very difficult because everybody's schedules. Very, very difficult sometimes to do that. Nathan's probably the easiest guy to do because he just goes, just tell me where, tell me when, and I'll be there, right? That's what you said.
I always travel for work, so it's another week traveling, so just when and where, right? I'm the easy one, yeah.
Yeah. And I think we had talked about a little bit about, was it Vegas or something we talked about? And then I think Phil at that point said, I just came back. Or I'm about to go there.
Yeah.
I wish I had him on the phone, but it was one of the two. But anyways, so he was like, can we look at something else? And then we started talking back and forth. And then the conversation went cold. And then we're like, well, we'll come back to it. So I think it's probably time that we come back to it. We start talking about it again and maybe something down at some point.
It's a brilliant idea. I mean, it doesn't have to be extravagant. I mean, let's do something with reason. If finances are an
Yeah.
issue or time's an issue, I mean, it sounds like you have the resources to be able to make more of a jump to come over to this part of the country. And
I mean, I'm out with my travels. I travel across the country, right? So when Grant was like, when we were talking about Vegas, I'm like, I'll just make that my week to go to LA, right? And then on the way home, I'll just stop in Vegas, right? So that's why it's easy for me because I'm already on a plane enough of a chunk of the time. So whatever week we pick, I can just tie it to that work trip. You know what I mean?
Just
So that's why it's easy for me. So that's why wherever you guys pick, I'll be like, sure.
to be honest with you, quite frankly, going to Vegas is actually a lot cheaper than what people think.
Right.
Yeah, it's in Nevada, And we live in Ohio, but the fact is that's probably one of the biggest premier tourist spots in the country.
Sure.
There's constant deals, constant deals. You could literally fly to Vegas, stay there in Vegas, cheaper than you could flying down to Orlando and stay in Orlando.
Wow.
So, yeah. So,
Well, since we've got the committee is here, why don't we just have one of us kind of in charge of, okay, by the first of the year, said person is going to provide some information on what they found for deals. You know, because I mean, we got the holidays now. You got, you know, Thanksgiving coming up. You got Christmas, you know, right behind it. So that makes it next to impossible for this kind of a travel, at least for me. So, but come the first of the year, I think we'd be open up to the conversation, say, okay, when this year? Because I'd like to do it in '24. I'd like to do it. I don't know what everybody's got going on for travel arrangements, or if we already have stuff that's booked or stuff that you know that you're doing.
just availability
You know,
too.
yeah. So
I mean, not everybody. I mean, I get 6 weeks of vacation, but I don't know what everybody else is, getting through their employment or whatnot. So,
right. Jim, do you know of any existing trips or stuff that you've got going on that might impede in 2024?
No.
All right, that's an easy answer. No.
not going to Hazard County or anything like that.
No, we did that. Did that. That was a good time. Should we tell one story about Hazard? You want to do that?
Sure.
Probably my favorite one that we've never really addressed or touched on real quick is Jim and I we get to Covington, which is the town square of Covington was Hazard Square. That's where Hazard County was, where the Duke boys would go into town, to Cooter's Garage and all that. That was the same filming spot, right? So we were driving around it the first night that we got there. We got kind of late, and it was
It was
starting.
a circle, though, right?
Well,
It was more of a circle.
more of a
before,
circle.
I think, in the show, but now it's more of a square.
Oh, no kidding.
It's still got rounded corners, but it's more
Yeah,
of a square.
and I think that circle is larger now than it was before.
Yeah,
It's
I think
opened up.
maybe a
I think
little
it's bigger diameter, but anyways, so we get there, it's kind of late, so then we decide to go back on a whim. We go, hey, let's go back to Covington, and I don't know if we're going to go there for lunch or what we're going to do, but it's 10 in the morning, right? And we come
We're
around.
talking about the next day.
Yeah, the next morning.
We wasn't on a win.
Were we going back to see something specific, or was it because we wanted to get some more pictures or
We
something?
went at night. We showed up at night because we wanted to eat at the restaurant there in the square.
Right.
And we knew the next day we were going to be going back to look at everything.
Okay, because right.
And we hadn't seen, we walked the square the night before in the dark, but we wanted to see it during the
During the
day
day.
and see anything else that
That's
there
right.
was.
That's right.
Yes.
So that
That's
was
what
our
we
day
went back
trip. That's right.
Yeah.
So we come around the corner and Jim's driving, and I'm navigating and I'm in the seat, next to him obviously, and I'm going through this booklet that I had, and I'm kind of playing. Okay, we've been here, we did this. Okay, today this is where we want to go, and just kind of looking at some stuff. And Jim looks up and he goes, oh my God, it's here. Oh my God, oh my God. And I'm like looking around thinking like somebody's going to hit us. That's what I'm thinking, like, because the way he's acting. And I look up, and right across from like the clock tower, I call it, but the clock tower for the square there, is a '69 orange General Lee parked out front.
No kidding.
And I went, oh my God, what are the odds? It's 10 o'clock on a Wednesday?
The night before when we had dinner, I think we told the waitress what we were there for. And she goes, oh, that's so strange. She goes, everybody that comes in here comes in for was it Vampire Diaries?
Vampire Diaries.
She goes, we have lots of tourists, and they were always talking about the Vampire Diaries that was filmed there, so she goes, but you're the first customers I've ever had that come for the Dukes of Hazzard. She goes, but I know it was filmed here, and I know it's big, too. She goes, there's a guy around here that lives locally that has a General Lee. He comes around from time to time. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But that was it.
It's Bo Schneider.
And then just happenstance, the next day, he's there.
Yeah. So that's crazy. So we park our General Lee, because I put 01 magnets on the side of the doors on my car, my orange car. So we pull up and we park in front of the clock tower, right?
And what were we wearing?
You guys were
Was it
not
the
wearing
blue shirts?
button-up shirts.
Was it those ugly ass blue shirts?
It was the Jaws. Yes,
Oh my
the
god.
Jaws shirts.
Oh,
Oh, it was so gross.
I was thinking that either you or one of you is going to be wearing a blue denim button-up shirt, and the other one
No.
was going to be wearing a tan
Oh.
button-up shirt
God,
and
no,
jeans.
We would have.
With the snap buttons.
if we'd have thought about that, we would have done that.
We were wearing a shirt, some Jaws shirt. What do they say on it? I don't know what they say.
Was it the
Oh
Jaws?
no, it wasn't
Or was it
Jaws.
the some bitch shirt?
It was the some bitch.
Oh, those are so
We were wearing
ugly.
the some bitch shirts from the
Yeah,
that smoked
I'm
the
going to
Nationals.
put those up
That's right.
so you can see it. But it's the least flattering T-shirts that either one of us have ever worn.
Well, I think they're like 2 sizes too small,
Yeah.
so you can imagine what 2 guys like us look in these shirts.
Oh my god, it was like
I mean, we fit right in down
they
there.
were big. Oh yeah, they were big shirts too. And it says right on there with the Buford T. Justice on the front of it. It says "some bitch" on the front of the shirt, and it's like, oh my god, they were so ugly. So thank God we went to a local store, found some actual Dukes of Hazzard T-shirts. It says the real Hazard County or something like that on it. So we bought a pair of those. We walk out to the car, strip off our shirts in all of our glory, change our shirts right there. Like who cares? We're in Georgia, and then we care.
Little moms are walking their little kids covering their eyes.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
We look
People are
worse in the
screaming.
shirts, trust me.
So, anyways, that guy's over there, the owner of the General Lee, and he's talking to this other couple. So we go walking over by the car, taking a couple pictures and that. And then the guy, these people go away, and he looks at us because he knows that we want to say hi to him. So we're just talking to him for a minute, and he goes, "It's the funniest thing. I got a friend. Correct me on the story. I got a
First,
friend.
what did he say first? The first thing he said to you was, "I like your shirt."
I like your shirts." Yeah, that was before
And
we
then he
changed
looks
our
over
shirt.
at me and he goes, "Obviously, I like yours too."
Yeah, because it was really quite queer.
Dorks.
Yes.
Oh,
Did he look at you and say, "I appreciate how easy it is to read them because they're stretched so tight"?
Oh my
he
god,
did
it was horrible. God, those are ugly. Anyways, I'm never wearing that shirt again. So he's just talking to us, but he made the comment. He says, "Well, it's a funny thing." He says, "I have a friend that was in town that said he was going to come into Covington, and he says that I wasn't planning on taking the general out today. It was not on my agenda. I wasn't going to do it. But I just told him, I said, well, if you're going to be in town, I'll pull the general out and I'll drive up." And he says, and we got here a little bit ago. We did whatever we were going to do. And he says, and I was just getting ready to leave when you guys walked up. So it was like, what are the odds that in the 20-minute window this guy was actually in Hazard Square or Hazard County, right? That he's there when we pull in.
That's really cool.
So it was like the vacation gods are smiling on us. It was just, am I saying this right? It was really good. It was really good.
I probably would have been like, wow.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
He talked to us and told us, about some other people that lived in the area that he knew, because they're all in the generally clubs, and he knew a couple other guys, but they moved on. They weren't in the area anymore.
Right,
He
right.
talked about reunions that they've had in the square, and he also told us to go to the
Welcome Center.
Welcome Center.
Yep.
He goes, if you get a chance, walk down to the Welcome Center for Covington. He goes, they have a full display of Dukes of Hazzard
No
stuff
kidding.
From the
Yeah.
show, when it was
on
filmed.
the show. And we did. We walked down there, and they had In the Heat of the Night was filmed down there. So they had all kinds of stuff from that show. They had
Yeah.
Dukes of Hazzard stuff and all kinds of stuff from Vampire Diaries.
You guys went down to the Welcome Center?
Yes.
Yes,
It
it was
was
walking
so
distance.
cool.
It was
Oh,
literally
okay.
walking distance.
Yes.
Yeah, just outside of the main square area. It was a street over, and it was no issue at all finding it. And they actually had things in there that was kind of cool. Like they had some of the doors from the police car. They had an actual stool seat that was used in the boar's nest, right? And some other stuff. They had one of Boss Hogg's actual hats. It's just kind
And
of
they
neat
had a
stuff. to
trans
see.
service down there, which I think they gave tours.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything for them, but I don't know if it's certain times of the year and what it's for. But it was really neat. We didn't expect it. I mean, just this little.
This
little
being
nothing
this
town,
this
you
far
know.
along after the show, actually.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, the other cool thing about it too was that they said, well, it's been 41 years or whatever it was that year, and they said there's going to be another, like when the 45th or the 50th, where we're going to have a whole bunch of generalies down here. They're going to bring people with the police cars. They're going to do all this kind of stuff. So we're trying to. I'm in contact with them. I'm on their Facebook page, and they're like we're friends that way through their Welcome Center, and they're supposed to contact us whenever
They
this is.
said that
but-
when they have their shows, the square has parking on both sides of the street, and they said that definitely the inside square is just filled with cars.
Hazard
all the
County
way around.
cars.
It's all Dukes of Hazzard cars.
Hazard County
all
cars.
General Lees and in sheriff's cars and some Jeeps and some
Maybe a
of
Boss
the
Hog car, one of
Mustangs,
those
maybe.
Cadillac convertibles,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, they had that
They
too.
just filled the square up, and then, they shut the roads down. Everybody comes in, and
That would be so cool.
that would be cool.
It was just,
Did they have a picture at the Welcome Center of some other?
they had some cast member pictures and
No, I
stuff
thought
that
they
was
had
in
some
there.
pictures of some meets at the square.
There was one that was done like 5 years before we were there, or whatever it
Yeah, there were a
was.
bunch of
It'd be like a
generations.
Comic-Con where everybody dresses up like
Oh, that'd
characters.
be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
Daisy.
there's some people dressed up.
You're gonna go as Daisy?
It's a new world out there, Jim.
Don't judge me.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
You don't want to see me in shorts like that.
Ew. So yeah, it was.
So no, but to finish that story, isn't that the car? Didn't you guys film him? I was trying to remember when you got somebody. You filmed somebody leaving the square. Was you?
Yes.
That was him.
That was
That was
him,
him.
right?
Yeah. As soon as we got done to having that conversation with him and talking with him, he got in his car, and of course we're standing there. We start recording him, and he backs up. As he pulls away, hits the Dixie horn, and
No kidding.
makes the corner and takes off. And we're just looking at each other like little kids, going,
It's so cool because he blew the horn, and of course we're recording, and we're like, yeah, and but people in the square that were sitting were clapping.
Yeah.
They're all like,
No kidding.
Yeah, it was
like
really
it's-
kind of.
they know what the square is. They live there.
It was a
so they know.
fanboy moment for sure.
Yeah.
Oh God,
It was a fanboy moment. So
That's awesome.
That was a neat
That
trip.
is cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
So, but the other thing that I wanted to kind of talk about, we just had a visitor here. Deb's mom, my mother-in-law Judy, was here, and she brought over a wonderful dinner for us, and we had some sloppy joes and some other stuff, and it was very good. So I want to put a
Yes, it
shout out
was.
to Judy for that.
Yes. Thank you,
By the
Judy.
way-
Thank you for that.
By the way, guys, there's no manwich in that. That was homemade sloppy
Yes,
joes.
yes.
Oh yes.
It was delicious.
It was good.
We call it a Grantwich, is what that is called.
No, we
She's
don't.
such a wonderful person.
No
too.
one calls it a Grantwich.
I tried. It's not going to go
It's
over.
not sticking.
apparently.
It's like fetch, man. It ain't gonna work.
Right. Like those damn T-shirts. It did not work at all. So, but Judy was here and did that, and then Uncle Mark was here, Mark Spalding, and he's had a trip that he was going to be on, so he stopped by and saw us. And there's a story that he told me. He says, you need to tell this story. And I said, okay, because Mark likes these stories that sometimes I get from work and some of the weird things that happened to me on the job when I was doing finance specifically. And the quick story is that there was this guy that came in with his girlfriend and sits down. He's very ghetto, okay? And I just have to say that just because you'll understand the punchline kind of this thing. And it sounds like a punchline, but it really happened. So I'm doing this application. It's like, okay, what's your name? Okay. Because he's trying to get pre-approved for a car. What's your name? Okay. What's your date of birth? Okay. Got that. Right there. Okay. Got your address. All right. Okay. And I said, I need your home phone number. And he just gives me this look like. And I said, can I get the number? And he looks at me very like he's mad, right? And he goes, what's my bitch got to do with it? I'm like, I said, I'm sorry, excuse me? And he goes, you asked for my hoe's number. What's my bitch got to do with it? And I'm like, no, sir. I said, home number. He said, oh, it's 419. Da, 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 da. I mean, you can't make that up, man.
No.
So he was really adamantly mad. And his girlfriend was just standing there, just like, yeah, what do I got to do with it? You know, she wasn't offended, didn't care. But I always told Mark that story. He goes, tell me that story again. He always loves. He just thinks it's funny. So,
That's probably why he was inquiring about all the stories I would have.
oh yeah, I'm sure yours are going to top mine with no doubt at all. But what else we got, Jim? Anything else on the agenda? Any other stories?
So, you want me to mention the movie?
Yeah, hit it up. Go ahead.
Okay, we talked about in our last podcast about the drive-in theaters.
Yes.
Yes.
You guys heard that?
I heard it, yeah.
I was asking Grant the movie we saw the most when we were kids was Eat My Dust.
Yes.
He could not remember.
I do not remember that.
Okay, so I watched it last night.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good one.
It's old.
It's old. Good Ron Howard, and I did not know that Clint Howard was in it also.
Really?
Yeah, and Clint Howard is, I mean, Ron Howard was probably 18, 19, and Clint Howard was younger, and he was definitely small than everybody.
Wow.
I mean, he's a short guy.
I think
anyways.
Ron Howard was that old back then?
He was
the young guy.
76.
In 76, yeah.
I don't know what year he was born.
I guess the timeline would be right. I'm just trying to trying to figure out how old he was when.
75.
When did Happy Days come out?
About the same time. No, maybe later.
Maybe a little earlier. Maybe that
Was it later? Yeah, he's got to be like 15 years older than us.
Really?
Ron Howard, yeah. Yeah.
It's weird to think about, right?
It is
That
weird
we're
to
that
think
clo- We're
about.
that close, but we probably are.
The one interesting thing about the movie, I did get to watch it and see, recall, because I don't recall what it was all about. I remember Ron Howard stole that number 8, that 8-ball Camaro, orange, which he did. But his dad was the sheriff. Okay, so it's this kid that steals his car, but his dad's the sheriff, and it's a small town, And the guy that drove the car was played by the guy Barnaby Jones. What was his name? Barnaby.
Was it
What his
Barnaby
name?
Jones?
No, the guy in Partridge Family. The
David Cassidy?
no. Be the manager, I guess. Was he the manager of the family?
David
The
was-
old guy.
I don't remember the old guy's name, but I know who you're talking
Yeah.
about.
He drove the car. But the kids, he steals the car, and all his friends get in the car, including Clint Howard, plays it. They all get in it. So there's 6 of them in the car, and they're driving, and it's just being teenagers, and they start singing this. They're singing this song. They're just singing all different kinds of songs, but they play this one clip. They're singing a song.
How's it
and
go?
I can't think of it right now.
You just saw the movie last night.
It's the same song.
Calling BS on that.
It's the same song that Robert Shaw and the cast in Jaws, they sing when they're in the boat.
You mentioned that last time. On the
I did.
What is
last.
the name of that song?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Can't remember. Have to look it up.
Hey, also.
I do have a clip of it if you want me to play it.
Yeah, go ahead and find it. In the meantime, I did look up Ron Howard. He's 69 this year. 69.
He is really.
He's 69 years old. Yeah.
Are you kidding?
So he's what?
Well, let me see when. I'm gonna look up when it happened. When did it
Ready?
happen?
12 year or 17 years older than us. Yeah, go ahead, Heather.
That's not it. That's not it.
Uh-oh, that's not it.
January 15th, 1974 was the first episode of Happy Days.
Wow, 74? 74 years old.
Yeah.
Jim was 14 or so, wasn't he?
So I'm assuming that if Ron Howard was playing Richard Cunningham, would have to be somewhere around 18, 19 in that.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't in school. Joni was, right?
Well, if he's...
When Happy Days started,
Yeah.
he was in school.
Yeah, they were
Was
high
he in school?
Yeah, they
He
were
was
in
high
high school.
schooler.
He was
yes.
high schooler?
Yeah, they played high school.
So he's,
So he was in high school. He's got to be somewhere around 14, 18 years old.
that's about right.
Well,
So we were.
season 1, remember Chuck, the brother that disappeared, was a senior in high school and a letterman.
Yeah, but he disappeared.
And Richie wanted to be a letterman, so he was
Right,
playing a
right.
freshman, but he probably would have been 19 or 20 years old in real life, right?
So that means, yeah, if he was.
Well, think about it
so-
like this, Larry. When you and I were
So he'd
born...
be 16 years older than us.
Yeah, when we were born, he was 16. So 4 years later, when he started Happy Days in 74, he was 20. He's 20 years old.
Yeah.
20 years old.
So I guess math is right.
Yep.
That
Just doesn't seem possible.
yeah, it's just weird.
But
Ready?
yeah, I'm ready, man. Go ahead. Just put it on your mic.
And it went right to my head. You don't remember them singing that in Jaws?
I do.
I didn't
That's
see
that
Jaws the
first-
musical, no, so I don't remember that part.
No, they sing that in Jaws when that's when the boat's attacked.
Yes, that's when they were
They're
all in the
drunk.
boat together
After
and
they
it was
tell their
night.
stories, then they start singing that, and they're all getting and they're singing so loud that they actually don't even hear the boat get hit the first time.
The Jaws.
I remember that
Yep.
part on the movie, but I don't remember the song that they were singing.
Yeah, that was it.
I remember because
I
what
thought that
was the what was the story? That was it the USS Indianapolis that was sank, and then all the
Yes.
guys got is that the same boat? Because he was talking about that. Right, he was talking about that he was one of those guys on that boat and was one of the only survivors. So he's telling that creepy story about all the sharks attacking all the guys in the water. And,
Then they compared scars.
yep. And they were drinking, and then they started singing that song.
And then one of them just
Yeah.
started singing it, and then the rest of them started singing it, and they all just started singing.
Yep.
You guys don't remember that?
I haven't seen Jaws in forever.
Oh, how?
It's
a classic.
You gotta see it once a month.
It's on all the time.
Does anybody have any stories that you are thinking of from high school or from anything else that you want to
Grant,
bring up
I
and talk about?
have. This is. I don't know
We
about you
just
guys. This has been.
scratched the
It's been
surface.
great. Yeah, I mean, this is. We could be here all night
Yes.
until tomorrow morning, and still probably haven't gotten through all the stories we need to, or not need to. But
No, it's okay.
this is amazing. This is. I had a
Aren't we
lot
in
of
enough
fun.
trouble.
I had a
Yeah.
great time tonight. I'm glad you guys invited me on. And to be honest with you,
Absolutely. I told you. we were.
Well, we're very, very happy. I think I can speak for Jim when I tell you that. We've been overly geeked up about tonight, wanting to have you guys come over, and it's a twofer for us. I mean, we get to get both of you, and it's awesome. That's really, so we're really happy that you guys both came on here and did that. And Jim's nodding. I'll give him his camera back so he can nod.
I was not in your camera. It's okay.
Were you in there?
Yes.
All right. So Nathan, thank you for making the trip and coming out special for this. I know we're going to visit anyways, regardless, but it's great to have you on, man. It's great to have you back.
Always great to come back to Toledo.
That's awesome, man. And then of course Larry.
yeah, this was fun. I enjoyed this.
I'm sorry that you were free, but it worked out anyways. You know.
Times are tough, and I need my fixes.
Right. Hey, you know what? Why don't you do this story, Miller? Why don't you wrap up and tell the story about your dad chasing you down the street? Come on, let's finish up with Butch. This is
Oh.
the
I'm gonna
way
get
to do
started.
it.
I mean, I really miss him. I do. He's was my best friend. No
Awesome.
offense, but when he passed away, he was my best friend. But I'll never forget we were at my house,
Yes.
and me and Dad were just going back and forth like we did so many times. And my dad said something to me about, you think you can outrun me. You think you're better than me. You can outrun me. He
You're
goes-
not faster than me or something. Yeah.
And-
I was
and
standing
was
right there for the whole thing.
I was like, all right, whatever, old man, I can outrun you. Come on, let's go then. I just bolt out the front door, man, and I'm running. I'm like, there's no way. I'm an athlete. This
Yeah,
is when
you're
I
in
was playing
football. You're in
football.
football, yeah.
I'm like,
Doing 2-a-days, all that stuff.
yeah. So I'm just running down Bancroft, just crossed over Van Ness. I turn around to look.
He's gaining.
And he's right there.
He's right there. My dad had this blue winter coat. It was kind of like a raincoat material.
Right.
And it was bright blue. And my dad had his hands in his pockets
In his front pockets.
and his cigarette dangling around, sort of like Bob Henning when he got hit with the baseball. And his glasses on, just running after me like it was nothing.
Oh,
Just
jeez.
like
Yeah.
I lost it. I collapsed on the ground. I'm dying laughing. My dad jumps on me and he just starts pummeling me. I'm laughing the whole time
God,
because I'm
yeah.
still thinking about him running after me.
Yeah,
But it
with
was,
his hands in his front pockets.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
was
Dad, pull your
hilarious.
hands out of your pockets and sprint.
why, Dad? You could have at least looked menacing, It didn't have
so
to be so funny. but
Never lost a cigarette.
Yeah, never lost.
Well, he's probably hanging on to the cigarette packs in his pocket. This way he could take it out. He's like, I'm not losing my cigarettes.
It was so funny. That was,
Right.
that was so
How,
funny.
how sad is it that your father, who probably wasn't running or training for sports or anything, with his hands in his pockets and a cigarette in his lips, was on your heels, right?
I think I would have been all right if I would have never turned around. If I would have never turned around, I probably would have ran all the way to Reynolds Road and never stopped.
Unless
That's how
you
much in
taking his
shape I
hands out of
was.
his pockets.
Yeah, and it was
And
just,
it
I
got
turned
serious.
around and it was like the funniest thing in the world. I don't know why it was so funny.
I don't know how he stayed with it.
I don't know
was,
how he
He's
did
a
either.
full-fledged, multiple-day smoker. You know what
But
I mean?
my
He's-
dad was one of those guys that when
just-
he was working, he always had that look to him like I'm busy.
Right.
Now, my dad could probably be walking, because at the time that I'm thinking of in my mind, this is when he worked at Import Automotive.
Sure.
They had the body shop on one end, and then they had, the main building at the other end, and there was like a yard in between. So my dad would often have to walk across and get parts or whatever, go punch in, go punch out, go to the bathroom, whatever.
Right.
And my dad was just always that brisk, really fast walk. I'm really busy, really busy. That's just the way he was. He just always looked like he was always busy, and he could have been doing nothing.
Right.
Comes walking over to you really quick. When I used to work there, he'd walk over really quick. I'm like,
Yeah.
You know, you always pay attention because he's like, it's like with meaning. And you're like, what's going on, Dad? I'm just seeing what you're doing. All right.
Did you have to walk over like that?
Yeah, I'm like, I thought something was wrong, you know?
Why are you coming up on me like that, bro?
Yeah, so yeah.
Come
he
up on me,
was-
bro.
He was like that.
So, can you imagine living next to the Emerys, and you're just having a casual afternoon, and you hear this door go bang, and then you look out the window because you're like, why did the door go bang? And you see Larry sprinting, and then you see Butch behind him with his hands in his pockets and a blue leather or puffer jacket, right?
Sure.
Chasing him.
Sure.
Hands in a pocket.
And depending on how long the neighbors had lived next to you, they either were like,
Oh, there they
oh
go."
my, or they were like, hey, they're doing it again.
Right.
I mean, it could have been no worse than my sister driving the car through the garage. So
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
that was an eventful house. So.
Next time we get together, we're gonna have to talk about you driving through the Bat Cave.
Yes, that's. I mean, and you have to be the one to tell the story because you tell it the absolute best. It's the absolute best because I mean, right down from the going to pick Mindy Post was her name. Going to pick her up, you know, and I'm like puffing my chest out, even though it was like if I turned sideways, it disappeared.
Right.
You know, going to pick her up and the
Yeah.
drive in, it was hilarious the way you say, yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
Oh, that'll be good. We'll have you on again. We'll do it over the telephone or something. We definitely got to talk about. That's how you got that nickname of Batman.
Oh,
and
definitely,
With the
yeah.
Batmobile and that is the driving through there. So
Yeah.
we'll do that. But I want to thank you guys again. Thank my co-host Jim. So pardon me, brother. Appreciate you. And I guess that's all we got for today. I hate to end this thing, man, because I'm just having such a good time with you guys. But you know, we all got lives, bro.
It's great. It's a lot of
So-
fun. I enjoyed this. Getting
This is
to
great.
meet- I think it's good seeing you again.
You guys got
man.
enough
You look
content to
wonderful.
listen to for
You
the
do
week?
too. It's been too long.
For sure. What's that, Jim?
You guys got enough content to listen to this week? No?
Oh yeah. No, I just got to go through edit, so we'll get it handled. We'll
If
get
Grant
it
can never
done.
get it edited.
Yeah. Well, I'll get it handled.
Still one episode behind.
Well, I got one part of one
One
episode
part of
left.
it.
This is going to be like 3 episodes, isn't it?
Yes.
This is going to be what? This 3? This would be 3, right? So this is episode 3. We're going to have 3 separate parts. So be looking for it.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.